All right, peace, peace. Happy Shabbat Shalom to each one of you. Thank the Creator for giving us this day, this time to be able to come. To be able to give us this day and this time to come together, so as that we can be able to hear the word that the Creator has already set before us. Before I get started, let me blow the shofar. So we thank the Creator for each of us for being here as you come in the building, as you come on the platform, as you come in listening to the lesson. Make sure you press the like and subscribe button. Barry Usher, the link is in the chat. Link is in the chat. I just want to say this right here before we get started today for the half hour that we have with Barry Usher about the Sabbath. You know, a lot of us, we come to a point in our walk that you can't hear me. You have to click on the link. You have to come in and look at the comments in the link that will bring you on the platform is in the chat. We thank the Creator for just giving us this opportunity. Let me say this right here real quick. Okay, the link is in the chat, my brother. You have to you have to look on the comment, and the link is in the chat. All right, so just press the link and it'll bring you up, follow directions, and it'll bring you onto the platform. And then I'll eventually let you in. But as we going forward, I just want to say this right here real quick. Shalom, shalom, Sister Latoya. Happy Shabbat. Thank you for joining us with ITF-TR Network. And all praises for your donations. We thank the Creator for you. I just want to say this right here real quick before we get started. It's the Sabbath is very important to the Creator. The Sabbath. A lot of people come in with different motions and different views on the Sabbath. But as a nation, we was told to keep the Sabbath together. But in oppression, we was told to keep the Sabbath. We can't keep it together because we are not together. Captivity is what separates, I would say, the real ones from the fake ones. The ones that are striving from the ones that are feel entitled. Let's put it like that. When the Bible says, remember the Sabbath, remember means to call in mind, to call to mind. Okay? To call to mind. That's what the word remember means in that verse. To call, recall. To bring into memory. Okay? And a lot of us we don't look at the Sabbath. We don't look at the Sabbath as into a memory of why we keep it. We just keep it because it's like church. I was told when I was a young man coming up, you're going to get up and go to church. So church just became a part of me. Didn't know why I was doing it, didn't understand it, just follow the rules. So then it became a thing that I just pretty much follow myself after. I flow pattern my life after, because that was something that I was used to doing. But when I began to understand it, I can now have memory of why that thing was instilled in me. And it's the same thing with the Israelites. The Creator said, remember the Sabbath. Why was the Sabbath instilled in the first place? Why was the Sabbath instilled to us in the first place? Why was the Sabbath given even while we are in captivity or being oppressed by the oppressor? And sometimes, most of the time, we're oppressing ourselves because we choosing to follow. We choosing to follow. Brother Barry Usher, you just got to look into the link. Look into the comments section, and you'll see the link where it says ITFTR Network. And all you do is just put it in. You click on that and follow, and come on up on the platform. It'll bring you straight on in, brother. It'll bring you straight on in. So if we get to that point, and we remember the Sabbath, let me think about it. We remember the Sabbath. I'm gonna let you in a few minutes, my brother. I'm gonna let you in a few minutes. Just be patient. And once we remember the Sabbath, and let's say we work on the day that we say that's the Sabbath, what do we do from that point? I remember, let me give you another story before we get started. I remember when I was at church, when I used to be in the church. And when I was in the church, and I had to work on a Sunday, I had just remembered that church service is going on. And as church service is going on, but I'm working, I would start singing hymns. I would do prayer while I'm working. I would think about what it would be like if I was there in the church while I'm working. And the moment I get an opportunity to understand that now I can get inside the service, that's where I'm gonna be at. I'm not going to be just anywhere. What is this thing doing? I'm not going to just be anywhere. I'm gonna make my way to the church the next time I have a free day. But on that day that I know we have service, my mind is going to be in tune. My spirit is going to be in tune with the church. Even though I knew I was out of line. I didn't know I was out of line at the time, but that's what I knew. And so when we understand just that, when you understand just that, you will be, when you come into the Sabbath, it's supposed to be the same way. It's supposed to be the same way. So a lot of people people come to the point of not celebrating the Sabbath because they don't understand the Sabbath. They don't understand how important the Sabbath is. And I know a lot of us, we got lives and we have things we have going on, but the Bible still, the first part of that law says, remember the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath. And that's what we're supposed to do. Remember the Sabbath. So I'm going to kind of slow it down right here. Bring a brother Barry Usher in. Peace, peace, my brother. What you got going on? How you doing? You say it again, my brother, because I could barely hear you. I turned the music down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I barely hear you. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But is there any way you could kind of get closer to the mic?
Actually, I'm right on the computer right now.
Yeah, now you sound. Yeah, you sound better now. You sound close up now. I understand. you sound right. Better now.
I'm still getting to I could hear a background from you, and I don't have anything here that I could hear you talk. Then I hear you talk. It's like
yeah, that's probably another monitor you hear. That's probably another monitor. You follow me?
See, I just heard you say that again. You said it like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, you probably hear another monitor. That's probably what you hear. I'm on another I'm on another platform as well, not just YouTube.
Okay.
Hello? You hear me now?
Yeah, I'm listening now. Go ahead.
Okay. So, my brother, this is. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Barry Usher, and I'm thankful to. Okay, I'm very thankful to this brother for having me on the show to share my views on the calendar and answer whatever questions you would like for me to answer. So, thanks again for having me.
Okay. All praises. We thank you for accepting the invitation. I told you I was going to bring you on when we have the calendar. When I started to do the calendar, I told you I was going to bring you on. That was my word. And Moray Casadabar had reminded me when me and him was having a discussion, and he reminded me of you, and that's when I said, "Oh yeah, let me reach out to the brother," and that's what I've done. I reached out, and like I told you, I was going to have you on the time that I was going to bring this discussion up, and there's a lot of things that a lot of people be having on the calendar. So I just wanted you to set a foundation before we get started. You can set a foundation on the calendar of what you have an understanding about. Do you hear me, my brother?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you perfect.
Can you hear me, Jakob?
Yes, I hear you.
I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to do this on my phone because I'm getting a loop on the computer. So I'm trying to pull it up on my phone so I could probably use my phone instead.
Okay.
So if you could just give me 1 minute, I'm trying to pull
Take
it
your
up.
time. You take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
All right. Can you?
Yeah, I'm just waiting. Your picture coming in. Shalom, shalom, brothers. Sister Sephora, shalom, happy Shabbat, Trey and Zayden. Happy Shabbat. Thank you for joining us on this stream today. All praises to you. Okay, we're just waiting on the brother to come on in. But as he's getting this stuff together, I just want to kind of getting this technology together. I just want to kind of go further into it. When the Bible says remember the Sabbath, remember means to recall to mind. Okay. If I have to work on that Saturday or whenever you say your Sabbath is, I have to recall to mind when the Sabbath, what, of the things of the Sabbath, even though I'm doing manual labor, because that's what feeding me and was taking care of my household in this time of captivity. But the moment I get off work, I have a day of rest. I should be celebrating what I couldn't manually do that day because of work. A lot of us, we choosing to do a lot of things on what we call the Sabbath. Now, some people say, well, how do the Sabbath come in on Friday night, the Saturday night? Well, there's a Bible of a 1975 Bible. Go check it out for yourself. It had the actual months, Hebrew months, and it had the beginning of the days of the week. So and it said at the beginning of the days of the week start on Sunday. That was an actual 1975 Bible, King James Bible. Go look it up for yourself. That's where we get the Saturday is the Shabbat. So while we're waiting on the brother, let's go to the book of Jubilees, the 6th chapter. Let's go read that real quick. Okay, the brother's back in. Okay, hey, all right, there you go. Peace, brother, peace.
All right, I could hear you much better now, man. I apologize about that.
All right, all praises. Nah, you good, you good. Shalom, shalom, happy Shabbat to the congregation of Yashrael. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. So we wanna just set a foundation today. We want to set a foundation today. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start off with a question, and then you could just kind of go from that point. Would that be all right with you? I want to start off
Yes,
with
sir.
just. Well, I want to start off with a question, and then we're going on with the discussion interview from that point of laying down what is the Hebrew calendar, etc., or the universal calendar, as I say, it's the universal calendar because it was given to mankind, not just the Israelites. Um, what determines your how do you determine your days, and how do you determine your months, and how do you determine your years? What do you go by? Let's start right there.
Okay. The days are determined. The luminary that rules the day is the sun, and I think we all could agree on that. Um, we have to know exactly when a day starts and when a day ends in order for us to have a complete cycle of day and night. The thing that rules the month is not the moon. Have done that research, and according to my understanding, let's put it that way, is not the moon that rules the month. The months are ruled by the Mazzaroth or the constellations. The year is ruled by the sun, the star, and the moon. All three must play a part in the calendar. And I'm so glad that you said it, my brother, that the Most High gave to mankind. He didn't give this to one nation. He gave it to mankind. From the beginning of time, mankind has always had this calendar, and it's in the sky. If we would just stop looking at our phones and look up, we might just learn something. So,
So let's start right there. When do you say a day starts?
a day starts when the sun rises. And the reason why I say that is because I'm going to go by what the Creator said. In Genesis, he said, and the sovereign said, let there be light, and there was light. Genesis 1:3. And he called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and he separated night from day. So he says, when the sun starts to rule, that's the light for day. And I know most people will say, there, you didn't finish, and the evening and the morning was the first day. We know in the Hebrew it doesn't say that. So we see light came, which is day. Then the distance between night and day is called evening. And the time between day and night and day come back around again is called morning. Those are two dividing of times. So we see first there's light. And in Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 35, he said, I've given you the sun for the light by day, the ordinances of the moon, and the stars for the light by night. So those things govern those things. So if we don't know when a day starts, brother, we count. My question to most people is this. If a day starts in the evening, like we were taught, in the evening at 6 o'clock, that's when a day starts. Then when does a night start? Night and day is two different animals. So if a day starts in the evening like we were taught in Judaism, or at midnight like we were taught by the world, how can you have a day in the middle of the night? It doesn't make sense. Just like the day can't start in the evening, because then when does the night start? The day, I've never seen the sun at night. So we know it's not nighttime, it's night, it's day. So when the sun rises, for me, the day starts. When the sun sets, day is finished. We have that evening part, then night starts. And come back around to morning. Morning comes, day starts after that. Pretty simple. I don't even need an app to tell me that.
Okay. So for you, it starts when the sun rises and when the sun sets.
Yes, that's a day.
Okay. And do you believe in the 12 hours in a day, which makes up 24, 12 hours in half of a day, and then the other 12 other half of the day that makes 24, do you go along with that or you don't?
Well, I believe what they when they asked Messiah in the book of John, he said to them, "Are there not 12 hours in a day?" So if there's 12 hours in a day, that means the night portion would probably be proximate to the same thing if there's 24 hours. Now, we know because we see with our own eyes that in the summer, the days are longer and the nights are shorter. In the winter, the days are shorter and nights are longer. So we see that there is 24 hours in a day, if we want to use that term, hours in a day, 24. There's no such thing as a 24-hour day. There's a 24-hour cycle, and the cycle per se, it has day and night, which give you 24 hours. It's like this, brother.
Which is the moon and the sun.
Mm-hmm. The moon, the sun, and the stars.
Okay.
You have to use all three.
I meant to cut you off with you. The point you was about to make after that. Go ahead.
A perfect example, my brother, is if you've ever been on a cruise or a trip, they tell you specifically, this trip is for 8 days and 7 nights. Now, when that 8th night come around, that trip is over. So we have to be very specific what day and night. It says that Moshe was in the mountain with the Creator for 40 days and 40 nights. Night did not include the day. The day was 40 and the nights were 40. It could have been 39 nights and 40 days. But no, it was very specific. 40 days and 40 nights. So day and night cannot cross each other. And we have to know what luminaries rule them. And I believe that's where we as mankind has gone astray from the Creator's calendar. In that one aspect, just one.
Okay. Okay. So so you say to determine your months, it has to be all three of the luminaries. Or
all three of the luminaries work in the calendar. And they have their own individual purpose. Just like, for example, I want to say it again in Jeremiah chapter 31 and verses 35. He says, the Lord says, I'm going to use what the King James say right now. The Lord says, I have given you the sun for the light by day. No, we don't have to argue and wonder what rules the day. The sun does. He said, and I've given you the ordinances of the moon. So the moon have ordinances. And then he says, and the stars for the light by night. The moon is not the light by night, it's the stars. So the sun rules the day, the moon is for ordinances, and the stars rules the night. Now, if we put them now in conjunction in what their role is in the calendar, that's a whole different story. We cannot use the sun for months, just like we can't use the moon for months. We have to use the stars for months. And now we would have to determine how long is a month. A month, so, I don't know. I don't know, my brother, but maybe you could help me with this one. I don't understand why people were leaping yesterday. I have no clue what a leap year is, or day before yesterday. I have no clue.
Well, no, I can't help you with that because I don't know. I just don't. I don't know because the Bible tells you specifically how many days it is, and I guess that's something that they come with, to try to explain whatever day concept is. So that's what I get out of that. So how would you determine how things supposed to be in order to determine that particular month? What would you look at in the sky to be able to determine that between the three luminaries? Now, for those who listening who don't understand the luminaries, that's the stars, the moons, and the sun. So how will you determine the three to be in order for you to get that month?
Okay. The month is determined, and in different writings, they call them different things. In some of the writings, they call them the houses. In some writings, they call them gates. In our English, we call them months. But we know that there are 12 basic Mazzaroth. And if anybody wants to know where the word Mazzaroth come from, go to Job 38. And Job 38 is going to tell you, he said, can you bring forth the Mazzaroth, which is the constellations, in their seasons? These Mazzaroth are in the sky, and they are only there for 30 days at a time. Then another picture comes in the sky. So every month, the picture changes for 30 days. Right now, we are in the 28th day of the 12th month. I have 2 more days to go. Then the new year is going to start after that. So, and how do I know that? Because I look in the sky every night and I see the picture that's in the sky. The fish is in the sky right now. So in 2 days, the fish is going to be gone. And then one day after that, we'll see another picture in the sky, which you guys call Aries. I call it Naphtali. If you look in the book of Genesis 49, all 12 tribes are there. And Joseph, not Joseph, but Jacob was putting his sons in the Mazzaroth. They're named after the sons of Jacob. But we have learned Aries and Gemini and Libra instead of learning Naphtali and Issachar and Shimeon. They have stolen it. And now we don't remember. We don't even want to look at it because that's horoscope. My brother, that's a picture in the sky for 30 days at a time. And a month is 30 days long. Therefore, the moon cannot rule it. Every 30 days, it changes.
Right. Okay, every 30 days, the month changes, or
no, the Mazzaroth changes.
The Mazzaroth changes, and it changes to what?
Every time a new one come in, that's a new month. It's 12 of them, and they're only there for 30 days at a time. So if you have 12 months, there's 12 Mazzaroth. The 12 Mazzaroth are these. For spring, you have Naphtali, you have Issachar, and you have Shimeon. Then after those 3, you're going to start summer, which is Joseph, Yehuda, and Asher. Then we have fall, which is Levi, Dan, and Gad. And then you have winter, which is Benjamin, Reuben, and Zebulun. 12 months.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit about the light. The light. In Alaska, there's no sun up or sun down. It's just straight light, luminary. How would you determine that into how would you determine that into the equation of what you are saying?
Okay. And I'm glad you brought that up, my brother, because I haven't just read about that. I did cold weather training when I was in the military in Alaska. So I know about the sun never setting for about 2.5 months. Correct. You don't have no sunset. And I am under this is my personal opinion. I believe that there are certain parts of the earth that man is not supposed to inhabit. But we, with our arrogant selves, decide we're going to conquer the whole earth. There are places that was just made for the animals, not for us. So this is my rule of thumb. If I cannot plant, I can't live there. If I can't see all 3 luminaries, I cannot live there. There are places where mankind are not supposed to be, and there are places where we are supposed to be. We're supposed to be an agricultural people. How can you plant in a place like Montana? You can't. You can't even see the stars out there very well. And with all this artificial light that we have created, we really don't see anything anymore. That's the reason why, my brother, I live right now in Belize. I'm talking to you from Belize right now.
Right. Okay. Now
I'm in Belize. I moved.
Now I agree with that. The artificial light blinds out the luminaries of the heavens. All right. But the Bible talks about the the lights that streak across the heavens that you can see in
You talk
Oh
about the
wow.
northern lights?
Yeah, the
The
northern
northern
lights.
lights.
The Bible
Yeah.
speaks of the northern lights.
Yes.
So
We
in
have
order
that here
for
in Belize. We have it here in
right,
Belize.
but we can't see it here in there's certain parts of the Americas. We
Yes, you
can't see
can't
it.
see it there.
Right.
But
That's
and that would let me know it's not a place that I need to be.
well, well, certain parts of America is where
Yes,
you should not be. There was a question that
I
came in
totally
that
agree
says,
with you.
right, a question came in and say, do you believe equal parts only occurs during the spring and fall, aka 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night?
Yes, and that is what I do not subscribe to the equinox or the equinox. I don't subscribe to either one of those. All of those are man-made. That is not something that has ever been written about an equinox. The reason how I know this, my brother, is, and I'm glad that person asked the question. How do we know when there's 12 hours in the springtime and 12 hours crossing over from summer to what we call fall? That's a 12-hour period, and that 12-hour is where you are located. It's not. It doesn't start from the equator and move towards Jerusalem. It's wherever you are located. A simple sundial will let you know that you had 12 hours in that day. So yes, I do subscribe to it, but not the equinox that everybody waits for every year. I think around March 21st or something like that. I don't do that. The new year is going to start for me exactly 3 days. Exactly 3. So I don't do the and yes, it's going to be 12-hour on that day
Okay.
at the beginning of the year.
And do your New Year's changes every year per day,
No,
or it
sir.
sits on that same day?
It's on the same day every year, just like Sabbath is always on the same day every year. Every week, Sabbath does not change.
That's right. That's right. So when you have those who say the Sabbath does change, what would you say on that? We just setting the foundation. We just setting the foundation. That's what we're doing.
The people that says the Sabbath does change, I understand where they're coming from because I used to teach that. But one thing I know for sure, me and you might not agree on everything that we're talking about today and the people that are listening. But I think we can agree that the Most High doesn't change.
Well, that's Malachi 3:6.
So therefore, if he gave the Sabbath way back then, it's the same Sabbath we're supposed to keep today. We went away from it. He didn't change it.
Okay. And we agree. We agree with that as well. We agree with that as well. We went away from the Sabbath and the things that the Creator has set for us. Therefore, we mixed ourselves into things that really, I say, it add on or it took away from how things were literally set. So in once when you add something into something, it removes the flavor or the actual thing of what was actually being created or being created, because you add something that really wasn't supposed to have been added. Or if you forget to add something, it's not going to be the same thing. You're going to end up having something else different, either or, adding or you subtracting. That's why the Creator said he doesn't change, meaning that when he said it, it's set and it's there, it's done. And once and you could go away from it, but when you go away from it, that's on your recognizance and etc. etc. So the light, when I look at that word light, you represent that as the sun. When he said let there be light, you recognize that as the sun.
Yes, I recognize that as the sun in the sky. Yes, when he said let there be light.
Okay, so you believe the sun was created on the third day? I mean, in the Bible.
No.
Okay.
The sun, the stars, and the moon in Genesis 1:14, when it says, and the Creator made, not create, made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. Now, if we go back and we look in our King James Bible, brother, and we take out all those italicized words, it'll read like this. And the Creator made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day. Nobody would argue with me that is the sun. Nobody would argue with that. But the second part, and he said, and the lesser light to rule the night. People say that is the moon, and that's not true. Take out those italicized words, and he says the moon. I mean the sun, the stars. That's the way it made. It reads it without, and he made the stars also. No, remove those italicized words, and it will read the lesser light to rule the night, the stars, not the moon.
No,
the moon does not rule the night.
I'm not talking about verse 15 and 16. I'm talking about verse 3, where it says in
verse 3, yes, let there be light.
You believe that's the sun?
And the light, yes, and the light he called day. And he tells us that the sun rules the day. So you can't have day without the sun.
Okay. And he called night.
Yes. Therefore, the stars were already there. The night, okay. The darkness he called the night.
Okay. So in verse 3, you say that's the sun. And so in other words, before the sun was created, it was just straight night.
No. Before the sun was created, we see in the Hebrew when it says, and there was darkness upon the face of the deep. That word there is not night. That word is destruction, calamity.
Mm-hmm.
That word is not night. That word is not lelah. That word is kosher.
No, I agree with that. That is talking about destruction. There was
calamity
and calamity.
It wasn't good.
And sin and all that was upon the face of the earth. Right. I agree with that.
Not night.
So, right. So how could that light, if darkness was upon the face of the deep, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and then the Creator said, "Let there be light," why would He create a sun, or why that light will not be like a separation or righteousness?
Okay. I want to go back to what you said just now, just to clarify, so I have an understanding of what you said. And I agree with you. I do agree with you. When we read it and it says, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, we know that word in the Hebrew is the word koshek, which means destruction, calamity. So we cannot say darkness there is what we call night outside. That's not what it says. So if we read it, it says, and there was calamity upon the face of the deep. And the sovereign said, let there be light. Now, I am personally under the persuasion that light was always there. He just made it appear again. Something happened. Because we know that Genesis is not the beginning. Something had happened upon this earth that had caused the lights to be blocked out. And the Creator put them back in order. And now what we have as day one for us, again, we have the sun, the stars, and the moon already given their appointments. And mankind, way back then, before man was created, as we were taught, the calendar has always been written on the heavenly tablets. Always. They will always be there. So, that's the reason why, Brother Jacob, if you don't mind, can I say this real quick? That's the reason why I love it. I love it when the Messiah said, when they said, teach us how to pray. And this is what I learned from that prayer. And he said, let your will be done on earth as it's being done in the heavens. It's not talking about a place where God lives. It's right above our head.
Yeah,
the sun, the stars, and the moon. They're doing their job.
Right, what we call the ionosphere and all that other sphere and all
yes.
that. Yes.
So what I'm glad he didn't say was let your will be done in the heavens as it's being done on earth. But because, boy, we messed up. Oh, they would be all in confusion up there. But they don't change. We do.
We do. Correct. I agree. I agree with that.
They've always been there and will always be there.
Right. So you saying something that had blocked out the sun and
the stars and the moon.
Right.
Yes.
So you saying it was that much wickedness on the earth at that time that blocked out the sun, the moon, and the stars.
I believe that there was a great flood. Before the flood of Noah, there was a flood before that. because we know in the book of Peter.
Well, just real quick, I think Jasher or Jubilees talks about that.
Yes.
There was a flood.
Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch.
Yes.
All of them talk about it.
A flood that had flooded 3/4 of the earth, but it didn't flood the whole earth. But then the second flood came during the time of Noah and his grandfather, but his grandfather had passed just before the flood, and etc. So yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead, I'm listening.
So we know that something happened because we were given the command in verse 26 to replenish. Mean to do again. So we were put here to reproduce and do this again. It happened before, and it's happening now, and it'll happen again, over and over. It's a stickler thing. There is no such thing as this was that beginning. No, Genesis, Bereshit should read this in this beginning. This is what happened.
Correct. It's that was talking about that time period going forth.
Yes.
Because there was a time period before that.
Before that.
Correct. I agree with that. I agree with that as well. So you saying that the sun, the moon, and the stars were uncovered, and now everything is starting to flow back the way it was supposed to be.
Yes.
Okay, so then Genesis 1:14 and 15 and 16, where he says let me grab that real quick. Genesis 14, where it says, God said, let there be light in the firmaments and the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them. So in other words, he's speaking double tongue then. He's speaking double tongue. Okay.
No.
I'm listening.
If we look at it, if we look at day one, it says at the end of day one, that was day one, right? I prefer to use the word cycle. First cycle was done. Second cycle was done. Third cycle was done. Now we got to the fourth cycle. On the fourth cycle, the sun and the stars are still given their appointments for us to know that these are the two luminaries that will rule the day and the night. For us to know, not for the sovereign to know. That is writings for us to know.
Right. But so when he said, let there be light in verse 3, if that was the sun, and now the sun is operating according to its pattern that it was always operating in, but if you say something was covering it, and let's say that something was covering the moon and something was covering, let's say something was covering the heavens, all right, whereas that man could not see the luminaries, all right, then in verse 14 it says, well, let me go back to verse 3. He says, let there be light. So he's bringing forth that light in order for that light to show itself. So when that light is there to show itself, that means man is now aware of that light because it's operating according to what it was already operating in. But then when I'm looking at verse 14, Genesis, the first chapter, verse 14, and the Creator said, let there be light. See, when I say, if I tell somebody, let somebody be there, that means somebody wasn't there from the beginning. They had to, so I'm appointing somebody there. If that makes sense. If I'm creating something and I'm building a cabinet, but that cabinet position was open, and I say, but I'm gonna let so-and-so be in that position. That means I'm bringing somebody there to actually sit there. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes.
So when he says, let there be light, that means that light is now being put there compared to it's already there.
Okay. May I respond to that?
Yes, I'm giving you the floor. Yes.
Okay. If we go back and we look at the time of creation, and I believe that the reason why it's being done the way that we have it in Genesis was because the Creator knew that he was going to have people like me with a very small brain, very small. So he tried to make it as simple as possible so that I could understand it. So this is what I understand. Day one, and I'm going to come to your point that you said, and you made a very good point. If it's already there, why would he say it again in verse 14, 15, and 16? Why would he say it again? Why would you be redundant in saying that? And that's a very valid question. But if we look at it like this, day one of creation is day one, when he gave the sun its appointment and he divided day from night. Therefore, you had to have two luminaries there, the same two that he mentioned in verse 14. You notice he didn't say nothing about the moon. Nothing about the moon is mentioned in verse 3 or verse 14, 15, and 16. It's not there. So day one, he said, let there be light. And the light he called day, and the darkness he called night. And he separated the night from the darkness, and he saw that it was good. Right? We could agree that that was called, let's just call it day one. Then day two, he separated the firmament from the firmament. Day three, he brought the green things upon the earth and the trees and the grass. Day four, the same thing you're telling us again, the sun and the stars, they are for the two luminaries, the rule of the day and the night. Day five, he created the things that fly and the things that swim. Day six, the animals, the creeping things, and mankind. Now, this is my question, my brother. And I always had this question, even though I was teaching that on the fourth day is day one. If the fourth day is day one, that means we have to go all the way around to come to seven. But we see he created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 7. So if you got day one and day four, Sabbath can't be Saturday. Because after doing the creation of week, the 7 days, we have 7. So if you have 4 and 1, day 4 will never be day 1, and day 1 will never be day 4. Day 1 is day 1. Now I used to teach it that we start our count on day 4. No, day 4 is 4. 4 will never be 7 or will be 1. We have to start from the beginning and go all the way to 7 in order for us to be back on the Most High time. Now, why did he say it again in day 4? It's just for us to know, people like me with a little brain. Guys, I told you, let there be light. I call the light day. Now we, as mankind, call the night day. You see how we went backwards? We start our day when the sun stopped ruling and call it day. I love what Thessalonians says. He said, I have no need to write to you, brothers, concerning the seasons and the times, for we are children of light. Now, I think this is going to answer your question, Brother Jacob. For we are children of light, therefore we are children of the day. We are not children of darkness, and therefore children of the night.
Okay, so why do you think, okay, so I'm gonna hold that point. I'm gonna come to that point. I'm gonna come to that point in a minute about the evening. But I have a question. A question came up. Another question came up. It says Isaiah 13:10, for the stars of the heavens and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going down forth, and the moon shall not cease her light to shine. And the question was, do you feel this is happening in the future according to this verse?
That's an awesome question. Whosoever it is that asked that question, please tell him I say that's a very, very good question. That actually qualifies and quantifies what you and I was talking about in the beginning. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. The sun, the stars, and the moon was blocked out. That's not the first time it's going to happen, and that's not the last time. It's going to happen again.
Yes. Everything is going to be black now and dark now again.
Yes. It's going to happen again. So I didn't make it up. The prophet said it, not me.
Right. Right. So so why do you think that the day Israel said the day began in the evening?
Very good question, sir. If you go back and you do the understanding of when the Israelites start to calculate their months by the moon, and they picked it up when they were in Babylon. That's a Babylonian thing. And Haliel was the rabbi that give them their Jewish calendar that they use today, and their days start at night because it was a Babylonian thing. They Most High never gave that to mankind. That's something that was twisted. And again, if you just think about it with common sense, you know, brother Jacob, I believe this is just me. If the brain was an app, people would use it. I really believe that if it was an app, people would use the brain. Because how can you go outside seeing it's dark and say it's daytime, it's a day? There's a guy in Atlanta, Georgia. I used to listen to him all night long because I was on the night shift with the police department. And as this brother would say every night, good morning, it's midnight. How the heck can it be morning in the middle of the night? Because the world says a day starts at midnight. That's totally contrary to what the Creator has said. And brother, I hate to say this, but we need to realize that little thing is sin when we go against what the Creator set up versus what we set up. When we go outside and see the night has come, you can't call that day, then we are usurping what the Creator said. He said he called it light day. No, we call the darkness day. Isn't that funny?
So why
we say we're not sinning?
But why would it say it's evening, morning, first day?
I'm glad you asked that question. Let there be light. Here comes the sun. The light is there. The sun goes down. And then we have in the Hebrew what is called Erev. The Erev is the separation. It's not a day and it's not night. It's the mingling of the two. So we have that is called evening, the mingling of day and night. The sun is not ruling and the stars are not out yet. Mingle. It's about 45 minutes. Then night starts and it goes all the way up to when night is about to stop ruling because the stars is going away. And you mingle day and night again, and that is called morning. Boker, morning. So we have the mingling between night and day, which is called morning. And we have the mingling of day and night, which is called evening. That divides. That lets you know that one separates the other. But we have turned it upside down. And now we put day where night is and night where day is and say, and the evening and the morning is the first day. No, that doesn't even make sense. I have no credence to it. Even without a Bible, I could tell you, I know the day is over. Why? Because the sun is not ruling no more. And evening has come. You know how I know when evening is coming here in Belize, my brother? Then mosquitoes come out. Nobody's outside. For that period, for that 45 minutes, nobody's outside. Then mosquitoes come down.
How big the mosquitoes is?
Man, these mosquitoes down here, they have their own rainbows. But I'm serious about, and then in the morning, here right here in Belize, when that morning comes, the night is about to be over. They haven't started yet. You could hear the birds chirping. And then when morning has finished, they stop because they're off to work. They're not chirping no more. Even nature itself tells us these things.
I want to know how big the mosquitoes are.
Boy, they're big. Let's put it this way. You just gotta be bit by. You gotta be bit by them one time only, and you won't be out there in the evening. I guarantee you that.
everybody to shut down. Hey, don't got to be some big mosquitoes. Yeah.
They're big, and not only that, we got the little sandflies that comes down also at that time. And man, those things are they
they're
are
terrible. Sandflies
but
are terrible.
they only come down in the evening, only in the evening.
Yeah.
So that we know, and guess what? When night comes, they go away. They don't bite you no more.
Okay. You have a I call it a cheerleader section.
I don't know. I can't see who is on there.
I'm just being comical. I'm just being comical.
No. It's all right.
Brother Yehoshabam, Yashabam, he said, hallelujah, the brother is right about day and night, just like the Sabbath is from sunrise to sunset. He said, simple as A, B, C. That's what he said.
That's it, and he's right. He's right. Let me tell you something, my brother. If I could say this real quick, what the brother said. One thing I have learned about the Creator, and I'm learning about the Creator every day, just by looking around. The Creator said, remember the Sabbath day. He said nothing about night. That's a cycle. Day and night is a cycle. He said only the day portion is the Shabbat, from sunrise to the sunset. That's why the book of Psalms says, from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, the name of the sovereign is to be praised. You notice when he gave them in Exodus 16, he gave them the manna when? Only in the daytime. He said to see if they will keep my Sabbath or not.
Right. But
never night.
But here's the thing though. The evening and morning was first day. Because that's what it
first cycle
said.
Yes, right. First cycle.
Right, the evening and morning, first cycle. Why would the Creator specifically use evening, morning?
All right. Can I say it again? And I'm going to give it to you in the language it was written in.
Go ahead.
In the language it was written in, it never said, and the evening and the morning was the first day. It didn't say that. Okay. This is what it does, but this is what it do say. He said, let there be light, and there was light. And he called the light day, and he separated the light from the darkness, and he saw the light that it was good. Listen to this. After light comes what? After day comes what? Evening. And there became evening, and there became morning, one cycle. It never said, and the evening and the morning was the first day. It didn't say that. It says, and there became evening after day, and there became morning. The cycle is now over, the first cycle. But we read it, King Jimmy, totally different.
Okay, so if the evening and morning wasn't there, and you saying you're looking at the Hebrew.
Yes.
Okay.
The evening and the morning has to be there to separate day and night. Those are the two divisions that separate day and night, the two mingling. Day is mingled with night to cause evening, and night is mingled with day to cause morning. Two different time periods.
Okay. So, do you not think evening is prophetic for Israel?
When you say prophetic, what do you mean, brother? I'm not understanding your question, please.
When I say prophetic, do you think that the evening, when the Creator said for the day is your evening, do you think that it was because of their land, in the area of the land where they were living?
Your day is your evening is what it says?
No, I'm asking that as a question. Do you think that the evening had something to do with the land that Israel was in? Because of how the sun was.
I can't really say a yes or no on that, brother Jacob, because I'm not familiar with that. I'm really not. I couldn't say because of the land.
Okay,
What I can say is this.
Go ahead.
I can say something. I can say that day starts for you, each individual listening to this, wherever they are, whenever the sun starts to rise.
Now,
That's when they start for you.
Go ahead. And
that means it's not for everybody.
Right, because if I'm all the way, let's say in Russia, the sun is not going to rise the same way as where I am now in these parts of America.
You're exactly right.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
And the creator made it like that for a reason.
Right. So that's my question. Is it that the morning or evening was because of the land where Israel was the promised land, or was it just sunrise and sunset for everyone?
It's sunrise and sunset for everyone wherever you are. Let me give you an example, my brother. Daniel was in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And he prayed 3 times a day. What's the 3 times? Morning, evening, and noontime. Where he was in Babylon. Okay. He wasn't in Israel. And the morning prayer is just about that, an hour. When that gate is open for you, wherever you are. So around the whole world at different time, the Most High is opening those gates for us to come into his court and petition him or talk with him. Morning, and even David said it, I will praise you in the morning, evening, and noontime. 3 times a prayer, 3 times a day. That we notice that none of those are at night. 3 times during those times. So right. It's wherever you are. Right now in Israel, it's night.
Right.
For me, it's day.
Mm-hmm. But no, I was about to say.
So I can't tell them good day right now. I got to tell them good night, wherever they are. And it's the same thing with the Masoret. The Masoret that I see in the Central and North America region, down in Brazil, they are seeing just the opposite of what I'm seeing. That means right now for them, they are coming to the end of summer, going into fall. We're coming into spring because of what you see. It's not determined on my location and you keep what I have. No, sir. It's my location where the luminaries are pointing to me. So wherever you are, you do the same thing. And if you're in Alaska, God help you.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm just about to pull something up.
But I want to say this while you pull that up, my brother. The evening and the morning was put there as signs for us so that we could determine when a day is, when a day ends, what a night is, and when a night starts, and when a night ends. Just like, now I want you to hear me, and I hope the audience hear this. Just like the 4 Sabbaths in the year that separate the seasons. There are 4 Sabbaths in the year that separate the seasons. And if you get those 4 right, you'll get the rest of them right in the months. So that you can know exactly what day the Sabbath day is according to the luminary. And I guarantee you, it's not what we keep today. Okay. Guarantee with 100%.
Okay, Josh, your fan base says Joshua 31:35, and then I'm gonna give a scripture here. I'm gonna give his scripture first. He says, "Thus says the Lord, which give the sun for the light day and the ordinance of the moon, and the stars for light by night." Okay, we understand that, brother.
You know what the next part of that scripture says, Jacob, if you don't mind? The next verse says, the next part of that same scripture says, if you could do away with these ordinances, then I will cast off the seed of the upright. We can't touch them. We could change them, but we can't touch them.
Okay, all praises, because a lot of people think that you can overthrow them and you can't. The Creator has to do that.
Exactly.
Joshua 1:4, it says, from the wilderness, this is Israel's territory. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, and this Lebanon as far as the great river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites and the great sea towards the going down of the sun shall be your territory. Where do the sun set?
Well, the sun sets in our terms that we use in the West. We know that it rises in the east.
River. And what great river that would be?
I would imagine it was talking, I don't know because I'm not looking at the scripture. I would imagine it's talking about the Euphrates River, but it would say from to the going down of the sun would be very appropriate because you can't see a boundary at night.
No.
You can see a boundary during the day.
But the Euphrates is not considered a great river, a great sea, excuse me.
The great river Euphrates? It's not considered a great sea, a great one.
I mean, okay.
In the book of Revelation, they call it a great river.
Right. In Isaiah 11:15, it says that the Euphrates was broken up into 7 streams.
Yes.
And
you got the Tigris. You have different ones that comes from the Euphrates, but they branches off from them. That's why it's called the Great Euphrates. Now, I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that scripture to see exactly where the boundaries that the Most High gave to Israel. I'm not familiar with that.
But you cannot find 7 rivers coming off the Euphrates River today, nor back then.
And that might be true. I'm not even disputing that fact. What I'm saying is that if it's another river. No, if it's another river, then enlighten me, brother. I mean, I don't know.
No, the 7 streams will be the only river that's on the planet, which would be the Mississippi. That has 7 streams from it. Now, the point is, when you're talking about the going down, let me read verse 4 again. Joshua 1:4. From the wilderness of Lebanon. The reason why it was called Lebanon because of the trees. Mm-hmm. You have the Lebanon
cypress,
trees.
yes.
Okay, Lebanon cypress trees. As far as the great river, the river Euphrates. And then it says all the land of the Hittites and the great sea towards the going down of the sun shall be your territory. So that's
in the west then.
Right there, sir.
That would be in the west. I would assume that whatever that territory is in the west. They're going down. Yes. Yes.
Right. That would be going out west. Yehoshaphat, your fan base says, gotta disagree with you about that. Revelation stuff, though that book is a non-factor. All right, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, the going down of the sun, it says the Hittites, the great sea towards the going down of the sun shall be your territory. So we know Israel's territory is going to be where we say the sun sets, where the sun will never set, but we say where we think the sun is setting, and that is the river. So if you got the river Euphrates, and let me go to Isaiah 11:15 just real quick. Isaiah 11, and I'm bringing this up for a reason. Isaiah 11:15, it says, and the Creator shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. So when you see that the Creator broke off the Egyptian sea, which we call the Nile or the Euphrates or whatever we want to call it, 7 streams came from it. So the only 7 stream body of water on this earth is the Mississippi. So that means Israel's territory is on the west side of the Mississippi. So that means their territory will be where we say the sun goes down where we're at, which is the Pacific Ocean. Now, I'm just saying, I'm just giving a point of reference, which would be the west side of the Mississippi going down of the sun, which will be on the west side. So do you believe that the Creator mentioned the going down of the sun to let Israel know that what separates them?
Well, I would think that the reason
that's how they ought to keep their days from evening to morning, from the going down of the sun, because of where they're going to be sitting.
I know, and again, I don't believe the Creator is going to change. If mankind is supposed to keep it from up sunrise to sunset, which is the way you keep a day, and then he's going to give Israel from evening to morning is when the day starts for them, then the Creator is really confused. We need to pray for the Creator. But that would give us a whole lot of shenanigans. Okay, one law for everybody. He does not change the law for nations. Man changed the law. He gave mankind the law from the beginning, and the law should be so throughout all the generations for the upright ones only. And you notice I keep using the word upright ones versus Israel, because I believe that, and I really don't want to get into the Israel thing. And let me tell you something. That's a very interesting point that you just made with the 7 rivers coming from the Mississippi, and the Pacific Ocean would be the part where the sun would be going down what we call the west. Okay, that's very, very interesting. Never looked at it before. Never did. So that's a very interesting point. But I still know for a fact that the Most High never gave Israel or any other nation, this is how you keep my calendar different from other people. That is something that should be constant throughout everybody's land. Just like we are, brother. We are not Romans. Why are we keeping a Roman calendar?
Well, I keep the Roman calendar because I do business, and you under Roman occupation. But I know how to look past that Roman's calendar. Now, that word evening is in the Hebrew. Even in the morning, that is in Hebrew.
Yes, the word is Erev, and the other one is Boker.
Right. So when he said evening and morning, he's saying from night or sunset.
Sunset. Yes.
Sunset. And he said from sunset and morning.
Which is the morning, the end of night.
Right. It was the first day. He didn't say
first cycle.
Night.
First cycle.
Right.
First cycle.
Right. But I'm just using the word day so those who's listening can kind of grasp. Because when we say cycle, we have to break the cycle down, and that's when we're gonna get into another whole path of a discussion. So just to keep it, like you say, real simple, let's just use the word day. But you can use the word cycle if you choose to. But the word evening is there. So why would the Creator use evening and morning if it was not important?
It's very important. Very, very important. Evenings tell you that day is done. Night haven't started yet. Day is finished, expired, and night has not started. It's the division of night and day. And I know I sound like a stickler for a minute there, Jacob, but I think we need to train people mind differently and stop calling it a day. There's no such thing as a 24-hour day. No such thing. It's a cycle. So therefore, we have to train our minds. It's just like 10 o'clock where you are. People are still saying good morning. Morning has gone 4 hours away. 4 hours it's been gone. It's good day, then good afternoon, then good evening, then good night. But we consider it, nobody ever look at you and say at the nighttime, good day, my brother. Nobody ever done that because it's night. We have to call night, day, and the times between them that separate them is morning and evening. Those are the separation of day and night. Very important.
But why did the Creator why did the creator right here said, he didn't say from morning to evening. He said from evening to morning.
That's not what the creator said. He says, and there became evening. After day, light, there became evening. And then there became morning. One cycle. That's why I say we can't call it a day. Day ended 12 hours ago. Evening comes between. If we don't have those dividers, then we will have the confusion that we have today. The creator have made it so simple that all we got to do is go outside and get bit by the sandflies, and you know it's evening.
So you said evening is misrepresented in that verse.
Evening is not misrepresented. The translator put, and there became evening and there became morning. That's not what the scripture says.
No. It didn't say that. It didn't say that in the verse. It said,
and the evening and the morning.
No, it says the evening.
That's
but and the morning.
When you think about this now, I want to say it again. First, you got light, day. We call that day. Evening comes only after day. Evening never comes after night. Evening divides night from day. Morning divides night from day in the morning. And then evening divide the day from the night. You think about this for a minute, Jacob. Think about this for a minute, bro. What if I say, I start making my own calendar, and I say after night is finished, that's good evening. And then when day is finished, that's good night. That is morning. I would be usurping the authority of the Most High. He said after day comes evening, not morning. And then the night starts. And when night is finished, morning comes. We have to put them in their proper order. If not, me and you're going to be having this topic, and our grandchildren for the next 2,000 years is still going to have this exact same topic.
But it said it in verse 8, verse 13, verse 19, verse 23, and verse 31 in Genesis, the first chapter. It kept repeating.
Yes, sir.
Evening, morning.
Evening and morning. Yes.
Evening, morning.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question. Can we change evening and morning from their proper perspective and just do them vice versa?
No, it's not.
Let's instead of saying evening and morning, let's say morning and evening.
Okay, but see, I think what's happening is that we're not here to change what the sun does and what the moon and the stars does. That's not what the argument is about. The argument is it's not saying when the sun come up, that's when the daylight happens. That's not what the argument is about, or the discussion. What I'm discussing is when the creator say evening and morning, is it that when, okay, watch this. When, let's take Christmas for an example. When do Christmas happen? Do Christmas happen when the sun come up, or Christmas happen when the sun is gone?
Well, depending on who you ask that, because there's a thing that is called, and that's a very good analogy. There's a thing that is called Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is at night.
That's at night.
The Eve means that the Christmas is going to start when the sun rises.
Correct.
That's what Christmas Eve means.
Right.
Just like Erev Shabbat, the eve of Sabbath is what the Jews call it, Erev Shabbat, when the Sabbath comes in. That means it's the eve of Sabbath. Sabbath starts when the sun rises, not on the eve, but when the sun rises, just like Christmas. That's a very good analogy you just brought up.
Okay, so when you have an eve of something, is the creator telling you that your day starts at the eve?
No. Okay. There's not a scripture to back that up.
Okay, so now, if that's no scripture to back it, then you saying that evening and morning is flip round to a cycle of really day rise to day set, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that we have turned it. We have turned it.
Okay. All right. So, so is it that the Creator was preparing his righteous seed for separation of law, or you think that we still flipped it around?
We still flipped it around. Let me tell you why I say that. Let me tell you why I say that. The reason why I say that is because the whole earth has been taught that the Bible says, and the evening and the morning is the first day, therefore we start our days in the evening. And I'm saying that that's not what this Bible says. Now, I think that me and you could agree. Let's take away for a minute. Let's take away the Bible for a minute. No Bible. We don't have none. Okay. We got the sun, we got the stars, and we got the moon.
Okay.
And I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, Brother Jacob, you notice that every single time when the sun sets, something happens. And you said, Barry, what happens? I say, it's not nighttime yet. And it's not daytime either, because the sun is not ruling anymore. I can't see the sun. And you look at me and you said, my brother, that is called morning. And I said, okay, we'll call it morning. And then the night ends and I wake you up. I said, Brother Jacob, look at something. The sun is coming out again. But it's still night and it's not day yet. What do we call that period in between there? And you said we could call that evening. You see how it's turned upside down? Evening comes after day and morning comes before day. It has to be in their proper perspective.
But it's still the same day though, right?
No, it's the same cycle.
Oh, okay, it's the same cycle. Okay, if I'm we can use cycle.
It's very important to use that. Very important. We can't say 24-hour days.
Okay,
let me wait. Jacob, let me tell you what I usually do when I ask people. How many hours are there in a day? They say 24. I say, how much hours are there in a night? 12. So it's a 36-hour cycle now? No, 12 and 12 cycle.
Okay, but why would the Creator give Israel feast days from evening to evening?
No, the Creator didn't give them that. The priest gave them that.
The priest gave it to them?
Yes.
Okay. Show me when the Creator. Show me the laws. Show me the feast days that the Creator gave them. Because wait.
I didn't hear you properly just now. I didn't hear you just now.
Okay, let me ask you.
I didn't hear you properly.
Okay.
Go ahead, ask it again.
Let me ask the question this way. Then who gave, where did the priest get those days from then?
Okay. Are you talking about the 7 days that Israel keep, the 7 appointed times?
Yes. Where did those days come from? If you say the priest gave that to him, where did the priest get those from?
That was the accumulation of different times when Israel went into captivity. They picked up these different things. For example, let me give you one. The people were celebrating what they call Baal Sukkot long before Israel started to celebrate Sukkot. That was something that the prophet Jeremiah told them, don't do it. And they still do it. So we see that all these festivals that Israel have celebrated, and brother, I'm not knocking nobody for doing it. I did it for over 20 years. Every year, the 7 feasts, I don't do them no more because I realize that is not for the Creator. That is for the God of Israel. And that God of Israel is not the Creator. They learned that while they were in captivity and they brought it out with them.
Okay, so what captivity they learned Passover from? That's from another God. That's from another God too.
Let me tell you where that one came from. The Egyptians were putting the Egyptians were putting blood over their door long before the Israelites did it. Every year they would put the blood over their door so that the Nile would flood and give them good crops for their years to come. They did that long before the Israelites ever think about doing it. So this was not something new. Just like circumcision was not something new. The Egyptians did it. The Babylonians did it. They only did it with the elite. All these things that they have learned, they brought out of Egypt with them. That's why the Most High told them, don't do it. So
Israel learned Feast of Unleavened from the Egyptians too.
The festival of Lechem, I don't even use Feast of Unleavened Bread. the festival of Lapem, which is the 15th day of the first month. Now we have to know when the 15th day of the first month is. That is when you will see your first shoot after you have planted on the first of the year. That's why he brings us bread from the earth, food from the earth. It had nothing to do with no yeast or the bread that the people came out of Egypt with. No, that is an agricultural feast. It's 15 days after the new year, because that's when you will see your first shoot. If you ever plant, you can see it. The first shoot is going to come out of the ground. Festival of Lakim.
Okay, so that's the festival of Lakim, and Passover is not real. That's the Egyptian culture.
Oh, but the Passover is the Passover that Egypt keep. I mean, that the Israelites keep today is not from the Most High. Let me give you what Passover is, brother. Look up the word Pesach. It means to skip, an intermission. That's what it means. Pesach literally means that. And when you look at it, Passover, there are 4 Passovers. The first one is at the beginning of the year, when you're skipping over from one year to the next. The day before the first of the year is called Passover. The next one is when the seasons change. You're passing over from one season to the next. 4 of them. And none of them had nothing to do with blood. They corrupted it.
So Israel was never in captivity with Egypt.
Yes, they were.
How did it get out?
Captivity with Egypt. But the Most High never told them to kill any lamb and put it over their doors.
No, that's
never
fine.
told
That's
them
fine.
to do that.
That's fine.
Who told them to do that? Somebody told him to do it, though.
Right. Let's say that's fine. Let's just put on the table that the Creator never told them to kill no animal. Okay, but how did they get out? Who let them out?
The Creator did. He promised them that he would let them out, and he did to a Messiah. The Messiah at that time was Moshe.
Okay, and he went to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh. So the story of the Israelites fleeing from Egypt, that story is true, or that story is not true, according to you?
That story is true, but in a different way than we were taught.
Okay, I'm listening to your.
If we get another time and you want to talk about it, brother, we could go back and look and see how these exodus have happened before, not just with the children of Israel. These exodus have always happened. When the people was in Kemet, the same thing happened. There was a Moshe back then too. There was a flood back then too. So we know that this tongue is stickler. We could do that another time if you want to.
Yeah, we could pick that up on another time. So when Israel came from out of Egypt, and they fled, they didn't have no Feast of Unleavened. They didn't do the blood on the doorpost. And when they was in the wilderness, the Bible says that the Creator said that is the first of their year, which is Abib or Avib, however people want to pronounce it. It doesn't matter to me. So that didn't happen either.
No, that I'm glad you brought up that point, Jacob. That's a very, very, very good point. As a matter of fact, everything that we know from what the scriptures tell us is something that was reinstated. I want you to think about this. In Exodus chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, it says, "And the sovereign spoke to Moshe in the land of Mizraim." They weren't in Israel. They were in Egypt, saying to them, "This shall be the beginning of months for you. It shall be the first of the year to you." He reinstated the calendar in Egypt, not in Israel. Before they came out of bondage, the first thing he had to give them while they were still in bondage was the calendar. That's the foundation of our life. If we don't know the calendar, we won't know when to plant, when to reap, when to appear, when to keep the Shabbat, none of those things. So I want you to think about this for a minute, brother, and I want to challenge everybody else out there. If that is the beginning of months, which is the first of the year, right? And then 14 days later, we've been told that that is the Passover for them. I want you to think about this. There's 2 Sabbaths in between that. That means before the first of the year, which is the first day of the month, the first day of the year, the first day of the week, the first day. That means, my brother, coming back to the calendar, the day before the first day of the year has to be a seventh day. The end of every year is always a Shabbat in order to get one.
Right, but let me ask you, right, I get that. But if the Creator's telling Israel in the wilderness coming from Egypt that at that particular time, that appointed time, that's going to be their first of the year, because a cycle to a sun or a cycle to the what we call the astrology supposed to have a certain point. You agree or you disagree?
I don't believe in astrology. I do believe in astronomy. Two different things.
Well, that's why I say astronomy. When I meant to say astronomy, when you're looking at astronomy and when you point at a particular point of the atmosphere, that atmosphere is if I'm gonna say that this is my month, it has to line up with something that would declare that month in order for me to come back to that month. You agree or you disagree?
Yes, totally agree.
Okay. So so when the Creator told Israel this would be the first of their month, or Israel already, because I heard you say just a few minutes ago that it was a calendar given to them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The same calendar reinstated. Not a new calendar. The same calendar.
Okay, so that means that the first of the month, Israel had to have been back in line with what already was given to Noah. You agree?
Yes, totally agree.
So that means Moses, when they came out and they was given the first of the month, it had to be in line with Noah, of what Noah set up, not before that, but what Noah set up, because Noah gave it to Shem, gave it to Abraham.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with me,
right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that means the calendar runs off Noah.
The calendar came before Noah.
Well, I'm just giving a pivot point, because I could go all the way back, but I'm just giving a pivot point to Noah.
The calendar actually was explained to Noah by Enoch.
Right. And plus his I think that was Enoch's son, which was
Enoch's son was Methuselah.
That was his grandfather.
Yes. No, Methuselah was Enoch. Was one of Enoch's sons.
Okay, which one was Noah's grandfather?
You have Enoch, then you have Methuselah, then you have Lamech, then you have Noah. So you had Noah, his father was Lamech.
There was one after Lamech.
No. You have Noah, then the son of Noah. Noah was the son of Lamech. Methuselah had Lamech, that was his son. Enoch had Methuselah. Yared came before Enoch. And then you have from Adam all the way down.
It must be Methuselah. I'm thinking about it might be Methuselah because it was Noah's grandfather.
As a matter of fact, the scripture says, yes, the scripture says in the year that Methuselah died, the floods came. Right, that's why he lived that long.
Okay, that was Methuselah. Because Lamech
Methuselah,
died. Noah's father had died.
Yes, he already had died.
Yes. Okay. But so the thing is, that's why I'm just giving a pivot point on Noah. Because after the flood, because Noah had to build the ark according to the first cycle. You agree or you disagree?
He had to build the ark according to what the Most High said. Yes.
That was the first cycle. And then everything started happening according to the cycles. Like the flood came, the dam broke, the flood happened, and then at the last cycle, that's when Noah saw the tip of the mountain. You agree or you disagree?
Oh, brother, that's the first time I heard that one. The dam broke.
Brother Brooks.
Oh, that's a good, I'm gonna use that. The dam broke. I like that. Never heard that one before. But I agree. Listen, if we could go back to Genesis 6, 7, 8, and 9, it gives you dates in there. You'll
Correct.
find the sacred calendar right there.
Correct. And
That's
that's where I was
why,
pointing at.
that's why Messiah said it. Just like in the days of Noah, so shall it be with the coming of the Son of Mankind.
But
If
that's why I
you
was
know when
pointing.
Noah's time is, it'll be different.
But that's why I was pointing back to Noah. And when I point back to Noah, Noah had there was two feasts that we supposed to have kept. That Noah had that was two main feasts that was supposed to have been kept under Noah because of what Noah had went through, and all those two feasts were part of the cycle of the moons and the sun and the stars that he had recognized, and that was supposed to have been a feast forever. That's supposed to be a feast forever for that particular lineage. So what I'm asking is this right here. When if Israel, if you saying that those feast days from evening to evening came from the priests because those were other people's doctrine, then the question now becomes, you say that Passover was not Passover, unleavened bread was not unleavened bread. Okay, what about Pentecost or the Feast of Weeks or the Feast of First Fruits? What about that? Is that false or that's not false?
Brother Jacob, you are asking all the right questions today, man. I'm telling you. One thing I have learned, especially being in law enforcement, is that we never study a counterfeit bill. You never do that. You study the real thing so that when you see the counterfeit, you could spot it. Never study the counterfeit. And one thing I have learned in my understanding now of the scriptures is that there are 7 feasts that Israel keep, and the counterfeit, which are counterfeits, and I'm going to show you just a little part of that. How the real thing that the Most High gave. I remember, I don't believe the Most High gave stuff to just one people. He gave everything to the upright people, and the upright people could be in Belize. I'm here. One could be in, you're there, wherever state you're in. So the upright is who keep the commands of the Most High. Let's go back to Noah, because that's a very good thing, and we're going to talk about those feasts. In the book of, in the 7th chapter of Genesis, this is what it says. It says, now, the ark came to rest on the mount of Ararat. The ark settled on the mount of Ararat on the 10th month, on the first day of the month. That's what it says. On the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the ark settled on the mount of Ararat. Why do you think it gave us that, brother?
The 10th month?
And listen, the 10th month, the first day of the month. When is that? Is that October 10th? October 1st?
No.
Can't be. Because we know that the Roman calendar did not exist back then. But I tell you what did exist back then. Seasons. So the 10th month, 10, 11, 12. 3 months. The 10th month, the first day of the month, is the beginning of winter. And Noah didn't have to do nothing with the animals no more because they went into a stage of hibernation. But if we're not keeping the right calendar and we think that's October 1st, we'll be off. He said they came out in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, they came out of the ark. That was 2 months into spring. That means vegetation would have came back. They could plant now. 2nd month. Everything lines up with the calendar. I did a whole thing with the calendar that I keep now and show you how it lines up perfectly. None of those things is on a Sabbath day that the Most High did. Nothing was on a Sabbath. So now, you ask about the Feast of Weeks. If you go back to the Most High's calendar, this is what you're going to see, brother. It's 364 days in a year. There are 12 months in it. Each month consists of 30 days. And each month, if you have 30 days, that will give you exactly 360 days by 12. Where's the other 4? The other 4 are days of remembrance. In the book of Jubilees, in the book of Enoch, it tells you that these are the days of remembrance. These are the Passovers. And if you start from day 1 and you go to day 15, that's 15 days for the first festival of Lacan. Only 3 times a year, he told us to appear before him. The next one is what you call the Feast of Weeks. If you come from the 15th day of the first month to the 15th day of the third month, it's not 50 days. Penta means 50 in Greek. It's 60 days. That's the second feast. And then the next feast,
where you get
from the 15th day of the first month, which is the first feast, to the Feast of Weeks, the 15th day of the third month. That is 60 days from there to there. 60, not 50. And then the last feast that he told us to appear again is the 7th month, the 15th day of the month, our last harvest. And that from the second feast to the third feast is 120 days. It doubles. So no, I don't keep the Jewish feast the way they keep it. And then the next 4, the great Sabbaths that changes the season, is when we also appear before him. Hey man, those are 7 feasts. 3 and 4 is 7. And they have counterfeited, gave us some other days, and all the days that they gave us is with slaughterings. The Most High say, I never asked you for that.
No,
I'm telling you as a people.
That goes back to Jeremiah 7:22, where the Bible says he never
say, I never asked you for that.
He never asked for a sacrifice. Right, I agree with
exactly.
that. Yes, I agree with that.
So all of our feasts, all of our feasts are bloodless, no blood involved in it. Right.
Like I say, if Passover, but you still haven't yet explained if the Creator brought Israel from out of Egypt. Explain how did he do that? I know he used Moses and Aaron, but what caused Pharaoh to let them go?
What caused Pharaoh to let them go is that these people had now become, you got to remember, Exodus 12:1 and 2 had to have been told to them before the beginning of the year. These people had now become totally different than the Egyptians. They weren't keeping their things anymore. They weren't eating like them. They were supposed to be different. But the Most High couldn't keep them in Egypt and make them different. So he had to bring them out. He had to separate them.
But how did he do it?
The way he did it was this. First, by their actions, the people's actions back then. By the people's action, in one of the, if a matter of fact, you could read it in the book of the Gospel of the Holy 12. It tells you that the people start to act different, and the Egyptians didn't like it. And when Moses came and said, the God of these people said, let him go. If not, you're going to have problems. As a matter of fact, all the calamities that happened wasn't supernatural. It was natural things that happened back then. The Red Sea always turned to blood. What happens when it turned, not blood, but when it turned red, the algae came up and it caused the fish to die. When the fish died, what happens? You have flies.
It still turns to red today.
Yes, it does. That's what I'm saying. So this was something that Moshe was telling this Pharaoh, and he knew this, but he saw the consequences of it, and now he started to understand it. And the people, the thing was this, the people was different at that juncture.
But that still doesn't explain how did Pharaoh just turn them loose when Pharaoh wasn't he wasn't in the mindset of turning them loose.
Yes, he was not in the mindset of turning them loose.
Make them turn loose, because if the sea turned red because of algae every year, that happens right there through the Gulf of Mexico, going all the way around to California. It turns red with algae and it kills the fish. It has that stench smell to it, etc., etc. So my thing is, what caused Pharaoh to turn them loose? And plus, when the Bible says when they left at night. They left like in the evening time. So I'm trying to figure out what still caused Pharaoh to turn them loose.
Okay, the only answer I could give for that, brother. Hold on. My earpiece just did something. Hold on, I want to put it back in. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Jacob, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Why is it not coming through my earpiece?
Do you hear me?
The reason why, and the answer that most people will give that I was under the school of thought was he killed the firstborn of Egypt. And I know the Most High did not do that. The Most High, by his great power, could move the hearts of men, and cause Pharaoh to let those people go that was totally acting different from Egyptians. And they brought out Egypt with them. Even though the Most High was very, very a husband to them, we could use that word, to bring them out. He used Moshe as an instrument, but he's the one that caused Pharaoh's heart to turn. It wasn't killing of the innocent people in Egypt.
Did the Egyptians enslave the Israelites?
I don't know why my earpiece is not working. Say that again. Can you say that one more time?
Did the Egyptians enslave the Israelites?
Yes, the Egyptians did enslave the Israelites.
Okay, let me ask you a question here. So if the Egyptians enslaved the Israelites the same way like the so-called Negro in America was being enslaved here, they're not trying to let us go. They're not trying to release us. So unless there be bloodshed, how is it that the Egyptians, they just became different because we are different? Some of us are different from the rest of America. We're not being let go. So why is it that the Israelites that the Creator turned, he just turned it with no bloodshed? He just to let the Israelites go, but all of a sudden, but the Israelites was enslaved by the Egyptians. They were getting monetary from off the Israelites. They were in control by the Egyptians, but the Egyptians just all of a sudden just let them go. Let me this Latoya say I'm confused. Are you saying the Israelites' feast days are not only on the wrong date, and the Passover unleavened bread was not ordained by the Creator? They are there for everyone that walks upright?
Okay, can you read her question one more time, brother, please?
She said, I'm confused. Are you saying the Israelites' feast days are not only on the wrong date, and the Passover unleavened bread was not ordained by the Creator, and they are for everyone that walks upright?
Okay, I understand the question now. What I'm saying is this. The feast days that the Israelites teach us today that we're supposed to keep are not from the Creator. I know it's in the Bible, but they're not from the Creator. They are for another God. Any feast day, any festival that requires blood is not from the Creator. That was something totally different for other gods. What I'm telling you is that if we learn the calendar, you could put back the right feast days at their appropriate time and their appropriate meanings, so that we will know how to come before the Creator. He told us in Exodus 34, 3 times a year must we come and appear before him. This was not something new. This was something that Job was doing. And you guys do know that Job do predate Genesis, right? So Job was keeping these 3 festivals 3 times a year, just like I'm doing, on the calendar that the Most High gave. That's why I'm so thankful to the brother to bring me on so we could talk about the calendar. If we don't know the calendar, feast days really don't matter.
So if the Creator never gave Israel feast days. Now, when I look in Leviticus, I see that sacrifice is volunteer. That's a volunteer act. That's not a mandatory act, according to Leviticus, the 1st chapter. And blood was not always required. It was, you could have also brought fine flour. There were different things that Israel could have brought. It wasn't always dealing with blood. But the Christian church specifies the blood because of that dude in the New Testament who's a false god that they claim that sits next to the Creator, went to the cross, supposed to have went to the cross. That's why they bring up the blood. But there, the sacrifice in Torah never always required blood. So I don't understand when Israel was requiring that. That's why Jeremiah 7:22-24 tells you that the Creator never required that. And if I go to Leviticus, the 1st chapter, verse 3, it tells you that it was voluntary, meaning that if that's something that you chose, you felt like you had to do, then you do it. The same way as into the book of Judges. That dude, I can't remember his name. It start with a J, Jehathawah, something like that. When they were being attacked by the Hamites, the Hamites, I think it was the Hamites or the Amorites, something like that. It's the 7th chapter of the book of Judges. And he promised the Creator that if he allowed them to pass through, he would give the first thing that enters from out of his house.
His daughter.
Yes, he gave his daughter. But the Creator, and some people say, well, he sacrificed his daughter. That's human sacrifice. But if you read the story, the Creator never, ever spoke. Never spoke. That was just a vow he made.
But if you read the story again, he never sacrificed his daughter. She went with the virgins and was a virgin for the rest of her life.
Correct.
She was never sacrificed.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying. But in the whole story, the Creator never spoke to him. That was just a promise he made. And the Creator never told him to make that promise. That was never a promise that came from the Creator. So it wasn't never a human sacrifice. The same way I could go to Abraham. Some people bring up Abraham and his son Isaac. I don't believe that was the Creator that told Abraham to sacrifice his son. Why would the Creator say that? And they say, well, to prove him. He already proved the Creator when he left his kinfolks and his father's land, and he went to where the Creator told him to go. So he already proved himself to the Creator. So why would the Creator tell him to sacrifice? Yes, the Bible were infiltrated, but I'm still asking the question. The question I'm still asking is, if Passover was fake, then how did Israel get from out of Egypt? Because we're dealing with the first of the year.
Again, I want to say it again, maybe in a different way, and also to answer the sister question. Also, that one of the things that you said just now, Jacob, is this: you said if the people decide to do this, in Jeremiah 7, this is what the Most High told him. He said, you bring your offerings and you eat the flesh, because I never commanded your fathers in the day when I brought them out of the land of Mizraim in sacrifices or burnt offerings, that I never commanded them. Now, that does not mean I did not command it, but if you choose to do it, I might accept it. No. When the Creator said, don't do something, we can't just say, that's like you telling your son, listen, I want you to clean your room today. Okay, Dad, that's a command. You come home that evening, he got the kitchen spotless. Well, he didn't clean his room. He still didn't do what you told him to do. So we can't add and say, okay, we're going to give you blood like the other gods required. No, that was something when the Most High brought them out of Egypt. He's the one that turned Pharaoh's heart to lead them out, not killing no innocent people. No, Most High would never do that.
So the Creator never ordained killing.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I want to make it very clear. You see my front door, my brother? I could live without that front door. Somebody come through that front door uninvited, I will send them to the Creator to get forgiveness. That is a justified killing. There's a difference between killing and murder. Murder is the taking of life innocently for no reason. Like I kill an animal, I murder an animal in my proxy for the things that I did. The Most High would have never, ever, ever take those people, even the Egyptians. You got to remember, when Jacob went down to Egypt to get grain and Joseph was governor, they weren't supposed to stay there. They went there for food. And they got so comfortable and complacent that they decided we're going to live here. And the creator told them, because you did that, you put your own self in captivity. What does the scripture say? And there arise a Pharaoh that did not know Joseph, and he enslaved them.
Now, I agree with that because they were already in the land of Lebanon. I agree with that. And
they should have stayed where they were. They weren't supposed to live in Egypt.
Right. When famine hit, they went to, because they found Joseph, and that's when they took their father there, and that's when they told him to give him the land of Goshen. And then even if they went there and stayed there for a while, when the famine was over, they should have went back home because
they should have went back.
Right. Now, I
agree
with that.
So what I'm saying is this: the Most High is the one that turned Pharaoh's heart for him to let them go, because now they seem to be separate from these people. They're not keeping the same calendar. I established that right away. That's the first thing he told them. This is beginning of months for you. Don't keep that Egyptian calendar anymore. Come out. I'm going to provide for you. I'm going to teach you how to be my people.
Right. Did Abraham do sacrifices?
I believe that Abraham did sacrifices because Abraham was also serving the God that Israel served today.
Did Noah?
You got to remember, Abraham came from Chaldea. They served many gods.
But did Noah do sacrifices?
Noah did not do any sacrifice, even though the book of Genesis chapter 8 told us that he killed one of every clean animal. That's a bunch of crap.
Well, how would
we know that's not true.
How would you prove that to not be true?
Oh, I could prove that without a shadow of doubt.
I'm listening.
I want you to think about this. And again, the calendar comes in with that. If you go and you read,
that's why. Hey, why you think I'm bringing all this up? You're right. The calendar.
If you go back and read,
there's a sister having another question, but I'm going. I'm listening.
I'm sorry. The reason why I got the phone this close, brother, because my earpiece stopped working, so I'm listening to you now on my phone. So if I'm doing this, it's not that I want you to see how beautiful I am.
No.
But if you go back to Genesis, this is just, again, our brains. We know what is written, but what makes sense? I'm going to go with what makes sense.
Now,
if Genesis chapter 6 says this.
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Now, I want everybody to understand the brother is only expressing his views.
My opinions, okay? Yes.
This is his views. This is not my views, or this is his views. I'm interviewing him on his views. Yes. So everybody don't get upset because of what he's saying. This is only his views, okay? y'all, we good.
And I want to add to that, brother. I want to add to that. If they have any problem with what I'm saying, do not be afraid to call Morey Jacob and tell him how you feel. I will approve that.
Yeah, this is only his views now. we just said, and y'all got to remember one thing. We're only setting the foundation, so when we do go further into the calendar, y'all will understand how his views are. So we won't be off course of saying, well, hold on, no. That's why I'm interviewing him for his views. Okay, so you can understand how he think, how he move, and why he moved the way he moved. Because the thing is, what we have to remember, and this is the thing we have to remember. We have to come from out of our comfort zone to see how others think, to be able to know how we move. Okay. And it's not a punch against the brother, but what I'm saying is we have to learn to allow others to express themselves so we can hear and understand, as well as not just listening to one person and then you become indoctrinated. The world is big. The world is, it's huge, but this is how you set your foundation in the Creator. You let others talk. I let others talk. I interview others. And see the same thing like those other brothers that was on, brother Emmanuel and them. See, when they had an opportunity to talk to Brother Marcus, they included me. I was sitting back just chilling. The brother see me and the brother having a discourse. We having a very good conversation. And I'm not saying that I agree with everything the brother's saying, but there are some things that we do agree on. And we're putting it on the table so as that when we come back again, we can now be able to have a real conversation, and then we can still hash out the points where we don't agree. You see, that's how you build. You don't build by just chopping people down. You build by allowing them to put their points out so we can all understand the points of them. And then once when we understand their points, rather if we agree or we disagree, when we have the conversation again, then we can bring the disagreements, we can bring those out, and then we can hash those out, and then we can build a little further. That's how we supposed to do it. So don't think that I agree with everything the brother's saying. No, we just talking. We just having a conversation. Just a normal conversation that two brothers have. Some things we agree, some things we don't agree. There are some points that we know, like when we talk about the laws of Noah. We know about that. We talk about the things that was before Genesis. We both agree with that. See, so when we learn the line, when we see where we line up at, then we can hash out a real conversation dealing with things that we want to talk about dealing with the calendar. So I just want to bring that out. So nobody won't get discouraged for this and that. And don't be scared to ask no questions, because Sister Latoya, she got another question. She will ask questions. I'm gonna tell you, she's a bright, but she's gonna ask them questions.
But that's good. I love the people that ask the questions.
So let me give you her next question. She said, basically, do you believe the Israelites aren't the only people the Creator dealt with? Amos 3:3-2. Do you believe it's everyone upright?
I believe that when the Creator, I don't want to say that word because then it's going to put another wrench in it. No, I believe that when the creators, and again, the brother say I'm speaking for what I believe, not for anyone else. When the creators created mankind, all mankind is not alike. Some people are upright and some are not. I believe that Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahaliel, all these people were considered to be upright ones, but they were never called Israel. The Most High called Enoch upright before him. He called Noah upright before him. So now all of a sudden now we got a new breed of people that the Most High said, only these ones, and we see how wicked Israel was, but he still called them his people. Something is wrong with that picture. So I believe what I do, my children don't inherit. They got to do it too. For them, you can't call yourself an upright one if you're not doing what is upright.
But
simple.
Right, I agree with that. But I want to read a scripture, 2 Kings, the 20th chapter, verse 9-11. It says, and Isaiah said in 2 Kings, the 20th chapter, verse 9-11. And Isaiah said, the signs that shall have of the Creator, that the Lord will do the things that he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees? And Hezekiah answered, it is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but the shadow return backward 10 degrees. And Isaiah the prophet cried unto the Lord, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, and which it had gone down into the dial of Ahaz. So that's the sundial that you talking about.
Yes. Can I answer that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. So I want to give everybody the scripture that I came from. That was 2 Kings, the 20th chapter,
yes,
verse 9.
I'm very familiar with that thing with Hezekiah. I'm very familiar with that. And I'm going to give you another one also.
Okay.
But before I give you those, I want us to go back to something that you were talking about with Noah, which is going to make sense with what you just said. In Genesis chapter 6, it says that the Creator told Noah to build an ark. Build a big boat. They tell us the dimensions of the boat, how big it was, and it wasn't no football field. Like they tell us that's over there and some place where they found it. That's not true. Don't believe that. The scripture give us exactly the dimensions, how big it was. But this is what it says in chapter 6, Brother Jacob, that I want everybody to hear. It says, and he told him, bring you, your wife, your sons and their daughters into the ark with you. and bring the animals that I'm going to send you. You don't go and gather no animals. They're going to come to you. Bring them in by twos, the male and the female. Then he said, bring them in by twos, the male and the female, to keep them alive. Oh, and by the way, bring in food that must be eaten for you and for them. That means what you're bringing in is not food. Because you're only bringing in two to keep them alive. That's what chapter 6 says. Now, why I brought that up? Chapter 7 start off by saying this. Now the Lord spoke to Noah and said, you have I found in all these places, you are the one who is the most righteous, blah, blah, blah. Make you an ark. And bring in the animals by two, the ones that are unclean, and by sevens, the one that are clean. Hold on, wait. Me with my little pea brain start saying, okay, the male and the female to bring them in. If you bringing in the ones that are clean by sevens, my brother, that's 14. You got to bring in the male and the female. You can't bring in 3.5. So for all the clean animals, you're bringing in 14 of them. And for the unclean animals, you're bringing in 2. And then when you keep them alive for 1 year, 1 month, and 27 days, you slaughter one of every clean animal. Does that sound right to our brain?
No,
so which one are we going to believe? Chapter 6 or chapter 7? Guys, two different stories.
But why would they slaughter every clean animal?
That's what the Bible says. I don't believe that.
No, but Noah didn't slaughter every clean animal.
That's what it says in chapter 8. And he made an altar.
Yeah, he made an altar.
And he slaughtered one of every clean animal. That's a lot of darn barbecue.
Well, let's look at that, because
let's look at it. Go to chapter 8.
Yeah, I never read where he said he slaughtered every one of the clean animals.
One of every clean animal.
Okay, let me scroll down.
That's in chapter 8. I can't pull it up on my phone because
no, I'm in chapter 8. I'm in chapter 8 now. So
okay. And Noah built an altar, right where he said Noah built an altar.
Yeah, I'm about to grab that now. Let me scroll down to it. Okay, and it says, I'm gonna start at verse 16. Go forth of the ark, and thou wife, and thy sons, and the sons of thy the sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all the flesh, both the fowls and the cattle, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. That this is verse 17, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. So he's telling them to bring all them animals forth, so now they can go and procreate again. Verse 18, and Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, and every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kind went forth out of the ark. And Noah built an altar unto the Creator, and took of every clean beast and every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings of the altar. It didn't say he killed every one of them.
No, he killed every clean beast and every clean fowl. Look at that real carefully. Every clean beast, that means he made a sacrifice of clean ones.
No, it said Noah built an altar unto the Creator, and took of every clean beast and every clean fowl, and offered burnt offering on the altar. It didn't say he killed all of them.
No, he didn't kill all of them. He killed of every clean beast and of every fowl he took. He had to kill just one of them. He can't kill all of them.
But here's the point, though. And I see your point, but that would be contradictory to verse 17.
Yes.
How would you
wait, not only to verse 17. Why would you keep them alive just to kill them when they come out?
Well,
to kill one. I'm talking about one, not all of them.
Right, but that's why I say, but then if you kill one, that means you kill because you couldn't kill a female, you had to kill a male.
There you go. Now we starting to think.
No, I understand that. That's why I say it contradicts verse 17. Because if you kill a male,
my bigger question is this. My bigger question is this, brother, and I hope people in the audience would answer the question for me. which one are we going to believe? Chapter 6 or chapter 7? Bring them in by twos or bring them in by 2s and 7? Because I know that book got to get a whole lot bigger.
Right. And that's why I say when we read, and that's why I point out the contradictories every time, because the Torah is it was infiltrated as well. That's why we have to learn to read with comprehension, and that's what I teach on this channel. We read with comprehension so that we can point out the things that was added or infiltrated within the book that causes us to not serve the Creator properly. And this is one of them. And I'm glad you did point it out. I already knew about that, but I'm glad you pointed that out so as that people can see that you cannot kill an animal, the male, especially the male, if you brought them in 2 by 2 and et cetera, and then once when you kill a male, the female can't procreate because she has nothing else to procreate, especially.
Well, not unless they identify as a female. Because, today people identify now, man. So the animals back then would probably say, I identify as a female.
We're not going to do it. That's the Supreme Court justice, right?
But Brother Jacob, the point is this. When I did the research, and I hope other people do the same research that I did, it came from 2 different documents. Chapter 6, chapter 7, and 8 came from 2 different documents.
But that's what I'm saying. Those are infiltrations, and
yes,
and that's what.
So now let me go back to Hezekiah. Let me go back to Hezekiah.
Go ahead.
And I also want to bring in Joshua. When Joshua fought all day and they kept his hand up and the sun stood still, that's a bunch of crap.
Okay.
Because the Most High don't do things like that. If that means the calendar would go off. If the degree went back 10 degrees, the calendar would be off. And the Most High don't do magic tricks to impress mankind. I'm sorry. He's not a comedian or a magician that you tell me to make the sundial go back, so I'm going to do that. No, it cannot happen. That was written in there.
Right. So when it says, that's what I'm saying, do you think that was just allegorical, or do you think that was literal?
I think it was something for us what it does, it perplexes the calendar, because people are then going to ask you, well, the sundial moved back 10 degrees, and 10 degrees is very significant for the sun, because the sun is going across the sky precisely every day at the same time. It does it every day. I know it dropped back 10 degrees, we have a problem. The calendar would definitely be off. And when I read the story about Hezekiah to see what kind of king he was, so evil, why would the Most High try to impress him? So all I'm saying, this is Barry's opinion, not Brother Jacob or his channel. That was something that was added in there. And we have to be able to use our brain and say, that don't make sense. That don't make sense. That's just like nobody can tell me that you are a male, you are born a male, and identify as a female. And the book is going to say 500 years from now that that's okay. I hope those people 500 years from now think.
But do you think that, but that's what I'm saying. So when Hezekiah was asked that question, do you think that the Creator literally was going to set back the sundial, or do you think that was like allegorical for him to realize the lifespan that he was in? Because remember now, he was wicked, and so the Creator was challenging his life of how he was living and the things that he was doing. So that's what I'm saying. Do you think that it can
be allegorical? Yes, it can be an allegory. Yes, I agree with that. So but it wasn't literal that the sun went back 10 degrees.
Right. And so do you think when he held his hand up, that was allegorical of showing Israel that even though if they are righteous, things will stop in their presence because of the power of the Creator? Not literal, but what I'm saying is they will be able to defeat it regardless of the time.
You know the thing that gets me with that, Brother Jacob, and I hope you could enjoy the humor. Mm-hmm. Science teaches us that the sun is the middle of our universe, and the earth and everything revolves around the sun. That's what science teaches.
I hope you don't believe that.
Wait. That's what science teaches us. So my thing is this. If Joshua put up his hand and the sun stood still for a day,
No, that was
isn't the
Moses.
sun
That was
always
Moses.
standing still according to science?
No, that was Moses. That was Moses.
I thought it was Joshua.
No, because remember, Moses' hands got tied, and Joshua and Caleb went on both sides. No, you're right. No, I'm thinking about two different stories.
You're talking
Because
about the
Joshua
Red
and Caleb-
Sea.
Right, no, Joshua and Caleb when Moses was fighting, and
Yes,
as
Joshua
long
is
as
the
Moses
one.
held his hand up, as long as Moses held his hand up, they were winning. But no, you're talking about Joshua about the sun standing still. I'm thinking about two different stories. No, you're
Yeah.
correct.
But
You're correct.
what I'm saying is that science say the sun is already standing still. So according to that, that wouldn't be a miracle. But I know the sun is not standing still. You know why? I watch it move across the sky. It's moving. So again, it could be allegorical, but what I'm trying to say is that we got to use our brain and understand, especially if we know the calendar, coming back to the calendar. If we understand the calendar, it does the same thing every day, every year, every month. It does not change.
Correct. I agree with that.
Therefore,
I agree
we
with
have
that.
to line up with it. Not it lines up with us. It's not going to happen.
Okay. So the last question. If we ever got out of line with the calendar, how do you get back in line with it? Because the days you can't.
Man, that's a beautiful question.
How do you get back in line with it?
Can you allow me to say something real quick?
Go ahead. No. This is the last question. You got the flow. Because
Yes.
and I'm gonna bring you back on real soon. I promise you. I'm gonna bring you back on, and we're gonna go even further into this calendar. It may be 2 weeks from now, but I'm gonna bring you back
Okay.
on.
I want to say this, what you just said. How do we get back to the calendar? How do we get back into the right thing? Right now, brothers and sisters, listen to me very carefully. You are at the point of a climax right now. We got 3 days, 2 days more in the month. 2 days. And then Passover. And then the next day will start the beginning of the year. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. You could go outside and check this with your own eyes. Don't believe me. The Maserat that is ruling right now on the 28th day of the Maserat, listen to this good, is Zebulun, what you guys call the fish, Pisces or whatever they call it. It's going to be there for 2 more days. And then the day after that, which is Passover, listen to this good. The book of Enoch says this. It says, the Maserat, which lives in the 9th heaven, they are in the 9th heaven. It says that they are there, and one remove itself every month and come down to the 4th heaven, so that the sons of men can calculate their months. And that one stay there for 30 days. And after 30 days, it goes back to the 9th heaven. And at the end of every season, 2 days from now, Zebulun is going to go back to the 9th heaven. And on the next day, brothers and sisters, there is no Maserat in the sky for that 1 day. Then the following day, Naphtali is there. That's how you know your seasons have changed. That's how you know your Sabbath days. So listen to me carefully. When we pass over, it's always on a Sabbath day, a 7th day of the week. And that's coming up. Now, I want you all to please pay attention to this. Please, I beg you. 2 days, 3 days from today. This will be on Tuesday. And yes, Tuesday coming up. This Tuesday coming up. Please look at the moon. Because this is where the moon comes in. Not the Maserat. The moon comes in this Tuesday, and look at the phase of the moon. I'm going to tell you exactly where it's going to be. The phase of the moon is going to be on the right side. It's going to be lit 1/4. But we are not supposed to look at the bright side for these years. It's the 7 dark moons that we're supposed to look at. The moon do 7 years dark and 7 years plenty. That's how Joseph knew that there was going to be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of little. He knew that by the moons. So this next 3 days coming up, Tuesday, when you look, that is the Sabbath day. When you look at that moon, you are in the 6th year of the dark moons. Now hear me clearly. I do not prophesy to nobody. I just watch the signs of heaven. Being in the 6th year is the year when the Creator says, I am going to give you people double. Because in the 7th year, you cannot plant. If you don't plant, you will never experience the miracle. He said, I'm going to take you over into the 8th year. So this next year coming up for the upright ones, it's going to be a year of prosperity for us. But for those who don't know the Creator and don't keep his commands, it's going to be a terrible year. Because we got one more year of the dark years to go. We're in the dark years right now. Why do you think all these calamities going on? So, brother, the reset is coming up in 3 days. Don't believe me. Go out on the 4th day. 4 days from now, and look in the sky, you'll see Naphtali. It's only 4 stars. 4 of them. That's it. The biggest one is right now Zebulun. And I guarantee it's going to disappear. I've seen it now for years. I watch this thing every night and every day. Psalms 19. That's what it says. For by these are your servants warned. And in keeping them is great reward. Great reward.
Okay.
So all I'm saying, we got to teshuva and turn back to it, brother. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praises. We appreciate you coming on, taking time for the conversation. And I hope anybody has any questions. And trust me, I promise you, I'm going to bring you back. That's my word. You know, I'm gonna keep my word. And it's gonna be real soon. I mean, real soon. We're gonna finish chopping it up. We're gonna go a little deeper. I'm gonna turn to part 2 because I was supposed to have another brother on. He's supposed to be a pastor. So
Jacob, is it possible that you could put my number if anybody want to call me and talk about the calendar again? We can. And this is not endorsing. I know you don't. You're not endorsing me. But if anybody have any questions, they can. It's 404-991-9424. And if they want to call me, they can. I don't have no problem with
it. Again. Say it again real slow.
404.
That's 404.
991.
991.
9424.
9424. That's Brother Barry Usher. He said if y'all have any questions, y'all could give this brother a call. Give him a call about anything dealing with the calendar or whatever you want to talk to the brother about. And the brother be.
And one more thing, brother. If you ever notice what I said, that what you guys call Tuesday, that is the 7th day of the Creator's calendar. But you ever notice that everything resets on Tuesday? You got Super Tuesday. The elections is always on a Tuesday. You got Fat Tuesday. You got Taco Tuesday. Everything is on Tuesday. They know this. We just haven't been taught it. So today is the 4th day of the week for me. Today is not the 7th day for me. For the people that keep the 7th day, I hope that you guys have a great Sabbath. But I know that the 7th day, according to the Most High's calendar, is 3 days from today.
Okay. All right. And like I say, we thank you for joining us. And like I say, once again, we will pick this conversation up real soon. And I hope when I reach out to you, you accept the next invitation.
Yes, sir. Thank you for a very good discussion. No arguments. I love that.
I told you what, no arguments.
I totally agree. And man, that's very, very, very far and few in between.
Yes, sir. Yes,
One thing I want to say before I go, man, is my cup is not full.
Oh, praise
I always have room for more. And I'm going to go back and look at that thing about the Mississippi. I'm definitely going to go back and look at that. See, I learned something.
I got some more. I'm just holding back.
I might call you so me and you could talk about that.
Yes, sir. That's fine. We good. We good. And I'm just holding back. I just, like I say, I wanted you to discuss and you to answer with the questions that I impose on you. I don't want to be, answering what I give you. I want you to answer the questions, and I want it to be about, what you, what your perspective was. It wasn't so much of my perspective. It was your perspective. I invited you on my show for you to give your perspective. So that's what I've done. That's why I just asked the questions and just let you go. And I kind of did a little pushback, but I didn't want to do too much pushback because I wanted to be your perspective of what you.
No, it was very respectful. I got to give you that. Very respectful.
A lot of people say I'm not respectful.
Well, I could vouch for you and say that you are with me.
But they say I'm mean, man.
I hope I answered the people in line. I hope I answered their questions. And again, if they have any questions, they could always call me if they want to.
All praises. And I'm gonna go ahead on and let you go because I'm hoping that the brother, the pastor's in the waiting room, and we're gonna go ahead and pick up number 2. But be looking out for me, and if, like I say, reach out to me on the back end. You know how we do it on the back end.
All right, brother.
Have that
No
chat
problem.
about the Mississippi. So we
All right,
thank
thanks
Brother
a lot,
Barry
man.
Usher for coming in. Yes, all praises.
All right,
Thank
shalom.
Brother Barry Usher. He gave y'all his number. He gave y'all his number for y'all to reach out to him and for y'all to be able to reach out to him and be able to ask any type of questions that y'all have that y'all probably didn't put up here on the screen. And some people, there was questions that came up. I posed that to the brother, and also there was other questions that came up. I posed that to the brother as well. So don't be afraid of asking questions to the brother that if it's anything dealing with the calendar, because like I say, there are certain points that I don't agree with. There are certain points that I did agree with. I'm not going to be one person that I'm not going to say I don't agree with, and that I'm just going to be opposing that, being an advocate, or no, that's not what it's about. It's about learning. It's about all of us growing, being able to grow and learn to be able to know the truth. But like I say, there are certain points that I don't agree with, and I'm not going to sit there. And that's why I wanted the brother to bring out his point of views. So next time when we talk, we'll be able to chop it up even more, so as that we can get further into the calendar to learn a lot of things. And here's the thing, though. Some of the things that the brother was talking about, I understand what he was saying. And now that gets into some of the Native Americans, Indian culture. And that's when that gets into the Aboriginal Native American Indian culture. What I mean by Native American, I'm talking about the Aboriginals. When we talk about those ones on the reservations, we talk about the Aboriginals. That gets more into their culture. But even though Israel were Indians, they were set apart people. And for them being a set apart people, they had set apart laws that were given to them. So they had to abide by those particular laws. Now, I'm going to go ahead on, because I don't see the brother, the pastor in the back chat or whatever, but we're going to go ahead on to move forward. And I'm not going to be that much longer. I'm going to go to Jubilees, the 6th chapter. Let's go to Jubilees, the 6th chapter. And I'm going to bring out something that me and the brother was talking about, dealing with Noah, but I'm going to go a little further with it. That's Jubilees, the 6th chapter, Jubilees, the 6th chapter. And I'm going to start at verse 10. The Jubilees, the 6th chapter, verse 10, and I'm going to read down. I'm going to read downward. All right. This is Jubilees, the 6th chapter, verse 10. This is Noah. This was before the flood, and this was after the flood. Okay. You could go to Genesis, the 7th, 8th, and 9th chapter, and you can read those months. And the month's going to be right here also in Jubilees, the 6th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 10. And it says, and Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh. And he made a covenant before the Creator forever throughout all generations of the earth in this month. So when you're talking about blood, when the scripture says in the 9th chapter of Genesis, it says that you are not to eat the blood of the animals. This is where you get it from. I know this covenant was way before, but we're talking about right here in Jubilees. Let me read it again. Verse 10. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh. They swore this. And he made a covenant before the Creator. This is a covenant that Noah and his sons made. Ham, Shem, and Japheth. They made this covenant before the Creator. That's why you get in Genesis, the 9th chapter, when the Creator tells you not to eat blood. That's where it came from. It came from the covenant that Noah and his 3 sons made. That they would not eat blood for forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. Okay? In this month, in this particular month. What month are they talking about? I want you to keep in mind, he said, in this month. Watch, let's go. Verse 11, on this account, he spake to thee, that thou should make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month, upon the mountain of the oath. I mean, upon the mountain with an oath. And that thou should sprinkle blood upon them, because all of the words of the covenant which the Creator made with them forever. Where do we get Moses sprinkle the blood upon the children of Israel? Where do we get that? Anybody can put that in the chat real quick. Where did he get sprinkling the blood upon them, upon the Israelites? Where did he get that from? I'm gonna see who's been paying attention. Where do we get sprinkling the blood? That's Exodus 24:8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it upon the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Creator has made with you concerning all these words. What do the blood represents? The blood represents a covenant. Your word, it seals it. The blood represents and it seals the covenant that the Creator made with you. Okay? That's what verse 11 is talking about. And he spake and should make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month upon the mountain with an oath. So the same time Noah and his 3 sons made an oath about not eating blood that month, that's the same month that Moses has sprinkled the blood and made a covenant with the children of Israel. Verse 12, and this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually. See, this is supposed to be a continual process that you're supposed to observe, so that you should not eat on any day. That you should not eat any day any blood of the beast or bird or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood of beasts or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. So it's against the law to eat blood of anything. Those who eat blood is an abomination to the Creator. And he said him and what? His seed. His whole seed is going to be wiped out. Because the life is in the blood of the animal. So when you're eating blood, and when you talk about those people drinking blood, they're drinking the life of that person. They're drinking the life of that thing. Okay, verse 13. And do thou command the children of Israel to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before the Creator, our God, continual. So now that lets you know in the New Testament, when they tell you, when Jesus said, the bread represents my body and the wine represents my blood, eat ye and drink ye, that's an abomination. That's allegorical of you being a cannibal. When Israel sat there, that's why when they killed an animal, it was called a burnt offering. And then when they did an actual flesh sacrifice, they had to make sure the blood was sprinkled around the altar. And then they had to burn the blood. And then they had to cook and eat it. They could leave the flesh there. But remember, killing something was voluntary. That was not mandatory. Because the thing that needed to be killed was you. And Israel, when they was killing the animals, that was to show the disobedience of themselves. So I'm a farmer, but I'm keep killing my animals because of what I'm doing. Sooner or later, you ain't gonna have no animals. You see how that work? Sooner or later, you're not gonna have no animals. So you have to recognize your disobedience, that you have to kill your desires that is going against the Creator. Okay, so this is so now let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Remember this month, Moses and his son, Noah and his sons made a covenant. The same month when Moses sprinkled Exodus 24:8, that was the same month that Noah and his sons made that covenant. Okay, let's keep going. So if any man in Israel eat blood, him and his whole seed, what it says, his whole seed will be rooted out. There's no way of getting around it. You can't eat meat rare. What they call tata. You have to cook your food. Okay, let's go to verse 15. And it says, and he gave to Noah. We in Jubilees, the 6th chapter, verse 15. And he gave to Noah and his sons a sign that there should not again be a flood on the earth. He gave them a sign. Because not eating blood represents not spilling blood. And if the blood is spilled, it has to be a purpose. You're not here to just take life. Just to take life. Under no conditions. Unless there was a warrant for that life to be taken. That's man all the way down to animal, insect, and bug. Verse 16. And he set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the what? Eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. So the bow is now in the sky. That's the sign that he made. Remember, they made a covenant before the bow that they're not going to eat blood. So now the Creator is now giving you a bow for that covenant. Okay? Remember when they made that covenant not to eat blood, Exodus 24:8 was on the same month during that time of Moses that Noah and his 3 sons made that covenant after the flood. Everything lines up according to itself. So now the Creator is giving you a rainbow, what we call a bow. Okay? Now watch this, that he will not destroy the earth. Verse 17, for this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year. To renew the covenant every year. So the Feast of Weeks, what is the Feast of Weeks is talking about? This deals with the calendar. It's talking about the flood. We're supposed to renew mercy every year for what the Creator did with mankind by not wiping out everything. You're supposed to celebrate this. It's called the Feast of Weeks. Why? It's because you're dealing with the interval of the period of a time period. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Watch out I get. This thing's supposed to be renewed every year. Year by year. Verse 18. And for this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the day of Noah. So you mean to tell me the Feast of Weeks was already celebrated in heaven? It was already celebrated. They were celebrating the Feast of Weeks in heaven. Why was they celebrating it in heaven? Ask yourself that question. The Feast of Weeks were already celebrated according to Jubilees in heaven before Noah. What is the Feast of Weeks? Mercy. It's gonna get into the Feast of Weeks. It was already celebrated in heaven. Till the days of Noah, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years, till the day of Noah's death. So they was on it. They understood the elements of this festival, which we call the rainbow. Not no LGBTQ MOUSE people. We ain't talking about that. We talk about the bow that you see in the sky. They put on a Lucky Charms box. The bow. They celebrated until Noah's death. And from the day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham, and they ate blood. You see that? They went backwards. They went away from the covenant. Let me read it again. And from the days of Noah till his sons, to the day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it. They did away with the covenant, the bow covenant, until the days of Abraham, and they did eat blood. What it means that they ate blood? They was doing things. They was just sitting there doing things that literally destroy, killing. That's the reason why the Creator tell you he don't respect your sacrifices, because you were just killing. They was doing the same thing. They were doing the same thing after Noah's death. Now watch this. Verse 19. But Abraham observed it. Who taught Abraham? Noah and Shem. So that means who was the Melchizedek that Abraham had commune with? The same way when they had commune with the Creator, or they commune with the Creator's angel in the mountain. Who communed with Abraham? Shem. Shem taught Abraham how to observe it. Because Ham and Japheth went away from it. Shem taught Abraham. Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observe it up till thy days. And in thy days the children of Israel forgot it. Ye celebrate it anew on this mountain. They forgot about see, that's why I asked the brother about Passover. Because Passover represent mercy. The same way the flood represented mercy. The Creator was showing, during the flood, he showed mankind mercy. And during Passover, he showed the nation of Israel mercy. But what it says right here, verse 20. I mean, verse 19. And it says, and the children of Israel forgot it until you celebrated anew on this mountain. Verse 20. And do thou command the children of Israel to to observe this festival in all their generations, for a commandment unto them one day in the year of the month, they shall celebrate the festival. What festival is they talking about? Because this got to be an important festival. Let's keep reading. 21. For it is the feast of weeks and the feast of first fruits. It's the feast of weeks and it's the feast of first fruits. They're supposed to be celebrated together. Because the feast of weeks represents mercy. Flood came. Noah did his thing. The Creator said, I will never do it again. He showed mercy. Then he gave you a sign, which is a bowl. And under that, the earth began to now produce back. That's the feast of what? First fruits. After all those long weeks on that boat, when that water finally went back where it's supposed to have went back, Noah committed a sacrifice to the Creator. And when he committed a sacrifice to the Creator, what took place? The Creator said, I'm not going to flood the earth again. Therefore, he allowed vegetation to come back forth again. Watch this. Let's keep going. And it says, verse 21. No, verse 20. And do thou command the children of Israel to observe this festival in all their generations for a commandment unto them. One day in the year, in the month, they shall celebrate the festival. So you're talking about the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of what? First fruits. They're supposed to be celebrated together because they are one. They run hand in hand. Let's keep going. For the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits, verse 21, this feast is twofold and of double nature. You can't have one without the other. Because the Creator could allow the water to just stay on the earth, all over the earth. But he didn't do it because of mercy. So now he allowing the earth to produce back for you again. This is a twofold feast. It's a twofold feast, family. According to what is written and engraved concerning it, celebrated. 22. For I have written in the book of the first law, in that which I have written for thee, that thou shouldst celebrate it in its what? Season. See, this is what the brother was talking about. You got seasons. That's where we agree at. You have seasons. These two festivals have to be celebrated in its season. One day in the year. So that means what, family? That means that the festival, that the flood happened when? The flood happened, family, within a whole year. The flood, it was a 1 year flood. I want that to sink. I want that to sink to y'all. The flood didn't happen in no couple of days. It was a year. 1 year. Okay? He said, for it is written in the book of the law, in that which I have what? Written for thee, that thou shalt celebrate it in its season. 1 day in the year. And I explained to thee its sacrifice, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month. 1 day in every year. Meaning this celebration is supposed to happen at a particular month. The bowl. The Feast of Weeks. The crops growing. The Feast of First Fruits. Those are two folds. They are twined together. You're supposed to celebrate it one time in that particular month, that one day. Verse 23. And on the new moon of his first month, and on the new moon of the fourth month, and on the new moon of the seventh month, and on the new moon of the 10th month. See? Are the days of remembrance. That's what the brother says. So he says there's 4 moons. I agree with that. It's right here. It's only 4 moons. There's certain things I do agree with. There are only 4 moons we're supposed to pay attention to. And Jubilee's gonna tell you. 4 moons. Like people say, I celebrate a new moon every month. Well, I mean, that's your thing, but it's only 4 moons you're supposed to remember. Why? What is Jubilee's talking about? Well, let's keep reading. 4 moons. 4 moons. And the days of the season in the 4 divisions of the year. What is the 4 divisions of the year? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Those are the 4 seasons. And you got 4 moons that happens within those 4 seasons that let you know when this celebration is supposed to take place. This particular celebration. See? These are written and ordained as the testimony forever. Verse 24, and Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. He ordained these things for himself. See? Whereas that he can remember what took place. Verse 25, and the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself the ark. So the first month, what they call the first month, the first of the fifth, that's the ark. He's being saved. You see how that works? That's the reason why the Creator gave you a first year. First month. It's something that you can go by. The first month, he was told to build an ark. First month, you was coming from out of Egypt. Do you see that? Do you see the correlation? He was bid to make an ark for himself, and on that day, the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. See? He's talking about it, but he's talking about the first part of the season, the first 90 days. Verse 26, and on the new moon of the 4th month, the mouth of the deeps of the abyss beneath were what? Closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouth of the abyss of the earth were opened. The earth was dry. Now it's open in another part of the season. One part of the season, build an ark. Another part of the season, the earth was closed up, the earth was dry. Another part of the season, the brooks were open. And the waters began to what? Descend on into them. 27. And the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. Verse 28. And on this account, he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. Verse 29. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets, and each had 13 weeks for one to another. 13 weeks, one to another, passed their memorial from the first to the second, and from the second, to the third, and from the third to the fourth. Verse 30, and all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks and days. And these will make the entire year complete. When it says days, it's talking about weeks. Thus it is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablets. 31. And there is no neglecting this commandment, because guess what? Even though you don't keep it, it's still going to rotate and keep it coming in. For a single year or from year to year. Verse 32. And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the year according to this, reckoning 364 days. And from its feast, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. Meaning you can't mess this feast up. You can't mess it up. Verse 33. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, if you neglect it, meaning you ain't trying to hear it no more, and you ain't trying to observe the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits according to his commandments, then they will disturb all their seasons. So family, if you get these two feasts out of order, the rest of your feast is void. Because your other feast hangs off these two feasts here, right here. That's why they say Pentecost, or the first fruits, is very important. It has to be put in its proper season. And if you don't observe it, you're going to get it out of whack. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be what? Dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. This is what they was talking about, family. They was talking about those two feast days. Those two feast days will cause everything else to be out of order. Devising for the book. See, the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets, the division of what? Days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the what? Feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. So if you walk away from these two feasts, family, that means you're following, because I would ask any Israelite, are you keeping the feast of the bowl, which is called the Feast of Weeks, and the Feast of First Fruits together? You can't keep one without the other. And if you get that wrong, then you're following the Gentiles. You're following the Gentiles' ways. Let me finish up, and I'm about done. Verse 36. For there will be those who will assuredly make observance of the moon. That's them Israelites who talking about they go by the new moon. Let me read it again. For there will be those who will assuredly make observation of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. So when you hear these people arguing over the new moon, they're following Gentile customs. That's Gentiles. It comes in 10 days too early. 37. For this reason, The year will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of what? Testimony, and an unclean day of feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the clean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the month and Sabbath and feasts and jubilees. Because you know why you're going wrong? Because you don't keep those twofold feast days. You only keep one. And that you call it the feast of what? Feast of what? First fruits. And then you call it the feast of weeks together. No, the feast of weeks is talking about the flood. And the feast of first fruits is talking about the agriculture. Mercy is being shown through both. In verse 38, in closing. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death, thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. For this reason, they will go wrong as to the what? New moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. So family, I'm gonna say this right here. When you don't understand the calendar, you start to follow everything. The Sabbaths don't change. The Sabbaths don't change. Let me show y'all the video real quick. I'm not going to show the whole video. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. These people know the truth. The problem is they will jam you up with the truth by displaying something to you that's a lie. That's why, like I was telling the brother, that was a good observation that he. But see, the thing is, they still put the truth right in front of you. They put the truth right in front of you. Out. I'm gonna put this up on the screen and I'm gonna close it out. Nothing changes. The only thing it is, we changed. The same way they gave you the 1828 Webster Dictionary and they told you what American is. In the 1800s Oxford Dictionary, they told you what a nigger was. The problem is, are we allowing ourselves to realize what they shown, what they giving us to do our homework? That's what I told y'all. Don't get mad with me simply because what the brother saying. Do your research. I'm not going to hide people from you. I'm going to let you hear how people think. The same way I brought them other brothers on, them other Hebrew brothers on. I want you to hear how people think. Here we go. Let's go.
War is coming.
This is not my material. Copyright. This is not my material. I don't claim no rights to this material.
So this right.
But I want to show you this right here. To show you this Bible. Check
This
it out.
1775 Bible shows that March is actually the first month of the year, and Sunday, yes, you heard right, is the first day of the week. Take a look.
And so this right here is the Bible from 1775 telling us at the time that we used to have 13 months. The first month of the year is March. Look at all the way to the end, guys. There's 13 months. 13 months. First day of the week, Sunday. Second day, Monday. Look at that. Seventh day or Sabbath, Saturday. This is the proof right here.
I've always been a curious soul.
So, family, where did that come from? Where did they pick up? Where did they get that from? You can go look at this Bible. This 1777 Bible proves we live in a lie. You go YouTube that yourself and look at the whole video. I'm not gonna play the whole video. But where did that come from? Why would they just put that in the Bible? That the Sabbath was Saturday. In the beginning of the months, the year was March. That's spring. See, we have to do our own due diligence. No man can save you. You have to save you. If you go by the New Testament, that's why the Bible says that New Testament say you work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. Your soul belongs to you. My soul belongs to me. In the calendar, it's very important because you have to line yourself up with everything. Just like at certain times, women can't get pregnant. It has to go according to their body. Their body has to line up with the universe. That's why you don't see animals having babies during the winter. They bring forth life during the spring. Now, if they someplace else, a man don't mess with it, then yeah, they have babies any kind of way. But what I'm trying to tell you is real life happens during the spring. That's why the bear hibernates during the winter. So I'm just here to tell you, in the sun up and sun down, I already know why the Creator told Israel to have their feast, but he said the feast wasn't for the evening to evening. He said that was given by the Levitical priesthood. But where did the Levitical priesthood get that from? He said that came from different other captivities. I beg to differ. Because Israel land was going to the sundown. That's why Joshua 1:4 it says what? They coast is where the sun is going down. So they celebrate the feast from evening to evening. The same way when you look at Islam, during the daytime, they don't celebrate. They celebrate during the evening of Ramadan. Before the sun come up and when after the sun go down. Everything happens in the evening and in the morning. I'm going to get into that hopefully next week of why the Creator say from evening to morning was the first cycle, meaning the first day. And day means a time period. And there's a reason why the Creator said that. And that's the reason why we have to realize how certain things actually are. Certain things are allegorical, some things were added. And some things are literal law. And if you're not celebrating the Feast of Weeks, and if you're not celebrating the Feast of First Fruits together, and you're not celebrating doing that particular cycle, then you're offline. The Creator's not hearing you. Because that was during the time when Noah was told to build the ark. That was the first month. That was spring. And that was during the time when Moses sprinkled the blood upon the children of Israel. That was the sealing of the covenant. You're not to eat blood. And everything else happens afterwards. You see? That's the beginning of your months. Is when Noah built the ark. Your month comes in before Passover. I mean, it comes in after Passover. I'm hoping y'all catching this. Your month comes in after you were saved. It don't come in before that. It comes in after. You see? That's why I asked the question, how did the Creator bring them out? Because we know he saved Noah through the ark. How did he save Israel from out of Egypt? The brother couldn't answer that. We're gonna get onto that next time we have a discussion. Because both of those correlate with each other. Your Passover, your salvation correlates with Noah building the ark. Now I'm not gonna hold you. Any questions? Anybody who want to questions? Praise to Sister Latoya for questions, and Brother Kasalaba, the congregation of Yashua, for the questions. Anybody else got any questions? Anybody got any other questions? Like I said, y'all call the brother. If y'all choose to want to talk to the brother, y'all can. That's up to you all. But like I say, there's some things that I don't agree with the brother. There's some things that I do agree with the brother. Like those who go to church, there's some things that I agree with, and there's some things that I don't agree with. I'm going to tell you what I do agree with, and I'm going to tell you what I don't agree with. I'm not one here to be an advocate to say, hey, everything that you say out your mouth is wrong. No. That's not what, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm not going to come out and say everything you're saying out your mouth is right. No, we're not going to do that. Me and the brother, I appreciate the brother coming on the platform. The other pastor didn't come on. I don't know if he got chicken out scared or whatever. I don't know. But a lot of people, they scared of my questions. They scared of me questioning them. They get offended when they question them. But Brother Barry, he handled that thing very well. Applause to that brother. Applause. I wish I had my hand clap thing working. Applause to that brother. Applause to that brother for coming on. And the brother, he spoke what he believed. He spoke what he stand on. And that's what it's about. Ain't no need to get offended. No need to get offended. No need to get offended. Why get offended? Come on, let's have a conversation. Any brother wants to come on and have a conversation, we can have a conversation. But see, a lot of brothers get offended because they're not solid in what they think they believe. That's why they get offended. They get intimidated because they're not solid in what they believe. That's why what Brother Barry was talking about, I can identify with that with some of the Aboriginals, like the Algonquins and the Iroquois Confederated and all that. I could agree. I know what that's why you have to know history. You have to know history, and you have to know where Israel is to understand when people say certain things, what they identifying with. If you don't know your history, then you're gonna be lost. You just go by a book. Israel gave a green ear corn festival. Why nobody don't talk about that? There's a lot of things that we don't talk about, and I can show you the Aboriginal Indians that did the Green Ear Festival in the southeast of the United States. I can show you them. That's why I didn't get offended, or I didn't clash with the brother, because I understand the culture that he was describing. We're gonna get further into that because he's right. Babylon, when Israel was in Babylon, Daniel and them, I think that was Daniel and them, they was in Babylon. Babylon came close to the cycle of the calendar when Daniel was there. But then some things kind of went off. I understand. I understand what was going on. But we thank you for joining us. We thank each one of you for joining us. Y'all, if y'all didn't have any questions, Yo, you know, I think, like I said, I think Sister Latoya, you always come with no questions, boy. She be on it. She be sharp. She had made a brother think for a minute. He had to think. Oh, he kind of paused on that question she brought out. All praises. That sister be on it. That sister be on it. All praise to that sister, man. She be on it, man. She be on it. She be on it. Sister Latoya, keep studying. Keep studying. Keep studying. Keep studying. Don't you stop. Don't let nobody deter you or take you away from what you see and what you know. Stand 10 toes down, sis. Stand 10 toes down. I tell you that all the time. Stand 10 toes down. Okay? You got it, because you is sharp. You sharp. Yeah, you stand up, you sharp. You is sharp, sis. You is real sharp. And brother More Kasadaba, all praises to your questions. All praise to your questions. You know, we thank the Creator for you. You know, and each one of you that was joining us today, we thank y'all for joining us. This is my Shabbat. This is my Shabbat. And I believe the Shabbat is on a Friday and Saturday, sundown to sundown, evening to evening. And I'm gonna get into that. Like I said, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna touch on that next week. And we thank the Creator for everything. Okay. And I know how some people think about the astrology, astronomy, and all that. I get it. And that's why I'm not scared to allow people to come on and have a diverse conversation. We have to put on our big boy pants to be able to have these kind of conversations, you know. And these kind of conversations are healthy because it lets you know how people think, how people move, the way people feel. And I'm not saying the way every time what a person say out their mouth is right, and I'm not saying every time what a person say out their mouth is wrong. But we have to learn to listen. And the things that you don't agree with, let it roll off your back like a duck with water. You know, pick up the fish, eat the meat, and leave the bones on the side of the plate. You know, so we'll get there. But until then, may the Creator continue to bless you. May the Creator continue to bless you. May it continue to protect you. May your week continue to be prosperous, fruitful. And now watch this. The New Year's is coming up. And ain't nobody said nothing about this year. Nobody. That lets me know where y'all at and y'all walk. Because it don't always have to come from one person. Each one of us should be noticeable when the year is about to turn in to be the appear. But a lot of us, we doing our own thing, tuning our own thing, and we're not doing we're not doing what we supposed to do. And that's cool. That's cool. Salvation belongs to you if that's what you choose. You got to walk across that bridge for yourself, and you got to be able to get on the other side for yourself. And so if you think what you're doing is right, then you keep doing it. If you think what you're doing is wrong, then change it. But no change is not going to come until you change it. So until the next Shabbat, may the Creator may your Shabbat continue to be peaceful, restful, and relaxful. Like I say, and like them brothers that's on that channel, on the Facebook channel, Shabbat is on the Shabbat. It don't change. My Shabbat don't change, and it will never change. The same way as my Passover, the same way as my Feast of Unleavened, the same way as everything else. It will not change. But I'm just showing you, you cannot celebrate the Feast of First Fruits without the Feast of Weeks. Because the boat ride, the flood, goes hand in hand with the vegetables, with the vegetation that comes up from the earth. It goes hand in hand. So until then, we thank you for joining us. Make sure each one of you press that subscribe button as you go out. Make sure you tell another person about the channel. And we do have our books. I do have some hardback books that came in. I'm about to get some more. They look beautiful. Hold on, let me grab one for you. This is how they look. This is the hardback one. You can see it is hardback. And you want it, just get hold of me. You pick one up. Trucker's Life, Adventures for Children. This is it. This is the hardback. So you can get it. You get this one through me. I got some more. I'm trying to order back on. It should be here in the next 2 weeks. But I have 8 for 7 for sale right now. They're $25 a piece. And if you want one, reach out to me, let me know. So until then, shalom, shalom. And we appreciate brother Barry Usher for coming on. But we'll be back on Shabbat next week. We'll pick back up. All Israelites are not Israel. And no, the covenant is only for Israel. And the other nations have to come through Israel. That's how that works. So don't get despair, don't get disrobbed, don't get this. Israel are the covenant people. I just showed you that in the book of Jubilees. It goes through Israel and Israel only. So until then, we thank you for joining us. May your Shabbat continue to be peaceful, restful, and relaxful. Until next time, may the Creator protect you, bless you, and prosper you if you are in line with the laws. So until then, this is Maury Yaakov and ITFTR Network. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you on next Shabbat. Shalom.